Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all the ships at sea, no matter where you fall on the thing. Hello, and welcome to Toronto by Day, Tales from the Rookery, a 20th anniversary Changeling session. Hang on here while I find my, there we go, 20th edition Chronicle. Okay, as a warning, this is a mature game. It may not always look like one or sound like one, but it is a mature game, and it may explore some dark and troubling themes. These may include, but are not restricted to, body horror, gore, violence, loss of character agency, gaslighting, mind control, and many other topics. Our players have already discussed consent and boundaries, and we collectively avoid situations that may be triggering. The players will always let me know if anything gets uncomfortable by using yellow and red cards in our private chat. If you, as a viewer, ever feel uncomfortable or triggered, please, for your health, just pause, step away. You can always come back to it later, or you could skip it and go on to something else. Our streams are available on YouTube after the game, so you can always return to an episode once you feel more prepared, or just catch the next episode as it comes out. And now, because we do not have any sponsors, hint, hint, if anyone's watching and wants to sponsor us, we are wide open. We've got all this sponsor space on our beautiful background format created by the lovely player of Lara. So send us your stuff, make us a deal. Come on down. Let's see what's behind the box that Cliff is standing beside. Let's meet our players. Good evening, Motley. Time to introduce yourselves. Tell our viewers who you are and a little bit about your character. So, cruising around in a clockwise fashion, this time we are going to start with Anita, please.
Hello, my name is Anita. I use she, they pronouns, and I play Pen Devlin, our Eshu Kith, Fae, she pronouns.
And next on the clock is Rose.
Hey there, I'm Rose. I'm playing everyone's friendly neighborhood amnesiac. And currently what was the term there, Cliff? Everyone's favorite little mystery in the hospital.
Favorite little mystery, yes.
Favorite little mystery, that's right. Everyone's favorite little mystery. Evalie, or Lee, as she usually goes by, she, her pronouns. And yeah, I'm looking forward to game today.
And next up, as we cruise around the clock, would be Crystal.
Oh, hello, I'm Crystal. I'm playing Lily Winters, your friendly neighborhood Cord, who works in a library and brings books to the kids. And yeah, she's looking forward to what is next. What mysteries are there? What can I get into?
And the next member of Motley to meet, Joanna.
Hello, my name is Joanna, she, her. I will be playing Lara Applewood, also she, her, and she's of the Pixie Kith, and she just wants to know what the hell is going on here.
And this week, our last, but definitely not least, if you could say hello, Kitty.
Hi, everybody. Kitty Kimchi here, and I'm playing Alette, your mischievous zookeeping puka.
Okay, and for those of you not in the know or who have not been watching Vancouver by Night, the channel, not just the game, and you should be watching the channel for all the fun that's going on there. My name's Cliff. I am sometimes a player, but currently I appear as a storyteller on this channel. And that is my task right now, is to take these wonderful people into strange and interesting places and then leave them behind to find out what kind of fun they stir up. So does anyone want to, this is something I've seen someone else do, and I rather love it. Does anyone want to recap for our viewers, if anyone's tuning in for the first time, what happened last session several weeks ago?
Yeah, you really want to ask the amnesiac that?
We can get a volunteer, or I can voluntold. Well, actually, this week, just because the issue is the storyteller and is supposed to know what's going on,
I was
Pen.
going to volunteer anyways.
Wonderful.
Um,
Thank you.
Last time on Tales from the Rookery, some sort of weird sound effect can go here. Our
Ooh.
our Motley kind of decided to come together through various means. The three caretakers of the Rookery, the titular Rookery, which is a stronghold inside of the Toronto Children's Hospital, gathered each of our lovely changelings for purposes unknown, to perhaps safeguard and help keep the magic alive within the city of Toronto. They discovered what they were. Some of them had already known what they were for quite some time. Most of them were fairly well unaware. Our Puka realized that they had cat ears and a tail. Our lovely Pixie realized that she looked awful lot like the Puka for some reason. And
Remember, that was me.
Yeah,
Looked a
oh
lot
yeah,
like me.
it looked like our
Selkie.
lovely seal Selkie.
Arf, arf.
Yes, discovered that she was also Aquaman. I am, and then with that, they decided to meet again the next Thursday, to perhaps delve a little bit more into this mystery and find the name for their kith, for their Motley, which has yet to be determined. They previously were names of different types of birds, and each one is representative of what kind of work that Motley and the Rookery will do. And that is about that, I think.
Excellent. Okay. So, for those who are wondering how time challenged we are, even though we appear on Wednesdays, we record on Thursdays. So the Motley meets on Thursdays, just to keep my head straight, because there's enough math in there as it is. A story, once started, takes a shape. It picks up all the vibrations of all the other workings of that story that have ever been. This is why history keeps repeating all the darn time. This is called the theory of relative causality. Any half-decent story should have a beginning, a middle, and an end. The laws of narrative causality vary from universe to universe, but they tend to have some common elements. Narrative causality tends to favor good fighting against evil, and otherwise normal people overcoming obstacles despite improbable odds. The most important rule of narrative causality is the rule of drama, which states that if there is a potential for conflict, doesn't mean violence, a potential for conflict, it will never be passed over. All urban legends are self-contained little nuggets of 100% narrative causality. From cow tipping to the man with a hook for a hand, from the vanishing hitchhiker to the sewer alligator, all these little gems have potent narrative force and may be acting themselves out in a universe near you. And what are fairy tales except urban legends writ from another time? So with that to start us off, let's see what kind of a story that we've got for our Motley today. So Motley, it's been a few Thursdays, and it's now a Thursday. So last time we started up there. So let's start with, where did we start this time? Oh, let's start with Pen. Pen, take us through your Thursday. What's up today?
So Thursdays are working at the comic book shop with the Grumps, and trying to make things a little bit more fun for them, unsuccessfully. Pen has been busy this afternoon stacking the books in the wrong order so that nobody can find anything, so that maybe instead of finding what they're looking for, finding something they're not looking for. Something that might be a little bit more interesting than what they're looking for. The grubs hate it when she does this.
Okay.
But yeah.
In the past few Thursdays, you have been attending the Freehold,
Mhm.
where, with the assistance of one or another of your new mentors, I guess you would call them, Betty, Gertie, or Misty, they have been teaching you or refreshing you on interesting tricks and abilities that you have and that you can do. Though fortunately, you're one of those people that's got a certain level of memory that goes back. So you're more helping Gertie with the tea and assisting other people with doing things, because sometimes the tricks need someone to help trick through the art.
Yeah. I think also Penn has been taking some time in the Freehold, using some of their paints to just do little flowers and filigree and redecorating a little bit. Something that's a little bit more creative than just helping with tea, because I think that would make Fem terribly bored sometimes. So like just sort of, there's one point behind a cupboard door. I'll take the extra sharp point of a pencil and draw a very fine little spider hanging down, so that when someone opens the cupboard door, they'll get a little bit of a fright. That'll be a little bit more fun.
That's your artwork is something Misty finds delightful. Gertie finds hilarious at times, particularly the spider. And Betty, well, nobody can quite tell with Betty, but she doesn't say anything negative about it. So that's acceptance is as good as it gets some days.
I'll take acceptance. I'll take
Okay.
tolerance.
And I'm going to guess that this being Thursday, as the evening hour approaches, you'll be packing yourself off to the Freehold to meet with people?
Yep.
Excellent. And again, like every other Thursday, strangely, as you walk towards Sick Kids Hospital, you get about a block away and the sidewalk clears. You can hear traffic, but there don't seem to be any cars going by for that 3 or 4 minutes. You're walking along towards the hospital. There's nobody in the lobby, weirdly, though again, you can hear footsteps. You can hear the voice of a security guard around the corner. It always seems to be someone's just about to be there, except you're walking through. The elevator, you do have to press the button and wait for. But again, when you get upstairs, same thing. There's nobody going to be there. And when the doors open, everybody seems to be arriving at about the same time every time. So we'll just pause there while we get the rest of the people there. Okay. So Rose, happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
Your weeks have been filled with all sorts of interesting things. You have met, besides Jean, your attending doctor, who you'll see about every second or third day, because the doctors get moved around a lot. You do see Betty a fair amount. The meals are remarkable. You are going through a variety of different types of therapy and have met a variety of therapists. There's some physical therapy because, again, it is assumed you were in an accident of some sort. They're just not sure what kind. So there's the standard, walk in a line, please. Okay, let's go up and down this little thing of stairs a few times. Let's see how this is doing. Let's take blood. Oh, let's take so much blood. You're sure someone is making like smoothies out of it or something, because, wow, they're checking for everything.
If vampires exist, seriously, they're probably just feeding off of it at this point.
They're downstairs in the phlebotomy lab. Yes. Saying, send
course.
down another. That one got spoiled. About 4 or 5 days in, they reel in a little kind of, weirdly, you still haven't got a roommate, but they've rolled in a little stand-up wardrobe where they've kind of said, okay, this is, we found some things on you when you were in the accident. So your footwear, your pants, your small clothes, and a jacket, and a very particular kind of jacket. It is a dark leather jacket in the right light, especially at night when the lights go out and you're just getting moonlight through the window, you can see a very faint scale pattern to it. And this is that you need this jacket in. Yes, it is something that, and everything has been cleaned, though weirdly everything else was dusted up. The jacket was in fine shape. So again, they're a little confused about car accident, hit by, mugged. We're not sure. We don't know what's going on.
Does handling it or touching it trigger any sort of memory or anything that comes up when if I like handle it, or if I like, usually like the scent of like something familiar or the touch of something familiar might trigger something?
Oh yeah. You can hear what sounds like water, waves on a shore, splashing of some sort. You get the scent of a fresh breeze over a lake or a seaside or a beach of some sort, something over water, a pond, a river, you're not sure what. And you get this feeling of enveloping freedom. It's not warmth, but you could call it that. It's not cool, but you could also call it that. It's just, you get this feeling of being wrapped in something, and that being your moment to just be yourself. This, this jacket is a big part of your identity and who you are.
Well, that helps. It doesn't explain what happened to me.
I know, but they're working on that.
But I really like to swim.
You keep hearing that daily. They're working on this. We're going to figure it out. You get support and assertions daily that, something will break, something will come through. They are going to be checking with one of the nearby gyms, potentially with the Ryerson Athletic Complex, which is a few blocks away. But, your mention of swimming has perked a couple of people with, that is good exercise and it's really, really good for the body and everything. And, we could probably arrange for something, but it'll probably take a couple of weeks to get there because, bureaucracy and red tape and stuff. But again, you'll get, especially the physical therapist going, we're working on the water therapy thing. Well, and that's a darn good idea. We should do that with other people too. Some of the other kids might enjoy it. So, and we get to a Thursday, and it's your standard Thursday. Betty comes down, and just around sunset, right after dinner, the orderly du jour is rolling away your cart with the empty plates and such from your dinner on it. And Betty sticks her head in and says, "You know what? It's Thursday, and it's almost 7 o'clock. Put on your jeans."
I'll be right up.
And then she disappears.
And yeah, she throws on now her proper, I would say some like skinny jeans of some kind, very comfy, very shapely legs too, because she's a swimmer. Tank top, and then like some kind of like loose-ish kind of like tank top that's like kind of like graphic tee, but it's in a tank top form. And then just her fancier leather jacket, and she kind of just looks at the scales in the moonlight and just like, this is so rad. I can't wait to show everybody else.
Okay, and up you
And
go.
heads on up, yeah.
And again, the elevator door just opens up at the right time that everybody's meeting up at the same time. So, moving onward, Crystal.
Yes.
So, Thursdays.
Well, Thursdays is book cart days. And we have to make sure the kids get their books. So I may have been making some slightly more interesting suggestions for the kids, Oh, if you're into this, well, maybe you want to dig a little further back into something older or something. But yeah, other than that would be just pretty normal. A lot like Penn, the Thursdays I haven't really needed to learn a lot. It's more like, okay, yep, that's what's up. Okay. Kind of hang out, drink tea.
Yeah, you would, by your nature being a chorid, spend less time helping and more time watching and taking little tiny mental notes.
Yes. or written notes,
Or written notes, and occasionally, helping out by, mentioning that this is the bits that you know, and this is what you've heard, and this is what's, going on that you're aware of.
Right. Or, oh, that makes me think of this, or don't forget that part or something.
Yes. Yep. Yep. Okay. So it's your standard Thursday. So you get home from work, you have a little bite to eat, and it's about that time. So grabbing your stuff and getting out the door.
Yep. Grabbing my bag of things and making sure I've got, everything, things to write with, things to write on, snacks. Off we go.
Okay. And much like has been described for Penn. And strangely, you all get there at the same time, but you never seem to run into each other out front so much anymore. You all seem to, again, just kind of miss each other. And there seems to be this strange serendipitous synchronicity going on in some kind of a little reality dance right around the hospital that allows you guys to kind of slip between the cracks, so to speak, of other people's awarenesses. And yep, you would be exiting the elevator on the 7th floor about the same time, whereas everybody else roughly to be heading down, not necessarily as a group down the hall, maybe as a little straggle, but only as a little straggle. You're all getting there exactly when you should. And while you're getting there, okay, Lara, so you've probably changed over what you've been doing the last couple of weeks just because of what you learned about your boss.
Yes, about my boss, about my landlady. I had a little conversation probably with my landlady. I'm not entirely sure how that went, but she didn't really give me much more information than that. She just kept trying to teach me how to pickpocket, which was really strange. I think that Lara would have spent a lot more time in the greenhouse. It would have been, between semesters, she would have finished up her exams. So she would have spent a fair amount of time up in the greenhouse, just making sure that the plants are growing and checking in to see what she can do, what she can splice, how she can make it better. And yeah, I think she would have had a conversation with her boss.
Yep. Now, Misty, there are some days Misty is definitely on the ball of things, and though she does a whole lot of we shouldn't talk too much. You never know when someone's going to walk in. And there are other days where she seems to be kind of like a, okay, I know this is important, but I'm not sure exactly what's going on. And you seem to notice the days very depending on the bangles, the jewelry that she's wearing. Especially certain jewelry, the more she wears, the more she seems to remember. At one point, about, I'd say 4 or 5 days ago, after your last Thursday, but before this one, and not long after the last Thursday, we have that wonderful little corner full of really, really interesting things. And some things sell, and every now and then it needs replenishment. She always seems to have a small beaten up cardboard box, a little bigger than a shoebox. And it always looks different than the previous box, but it's always, she never empties them, opens it, takes a few things, it puts them on the hook. It goes back into the little storage area kind of behind. And then when it needs to be replenished after a week or 3, a different box comes out and is opened up and is full of the same kind of thing. It just seems kind of a little weird, but hey, life is a little weird right now. But 4 or 5 days ago, she was replenishing it. She pulls out this little black plastic, and it's got 2 leaves hanging on it as earrings. 2 gorgeous little, they look like they're made of copper with a bit of, I don't know, silver chasing. not quite sure. They look like willow leaves. And she goes, oh, I meant to, yes, these, your employee of the month again. Yes, there we go. That's why.
Ooh.
And she hands you these earrings and says, these are for you. 7th floor stuff, just so you know.
Oh, interesting. Okay. These are amber. These are actually amber. Wow.
Okay.
I
had no clue.
I've never had amber jewelry before. That's kind of cool. And then I'll put them on.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
They're wonderful. They feel like they're not there at all. You're able to sleep with them on, and they just seem to be easily forgettable that they're there until you catch yourself in a mirror, and then you can see them. You can definitely feel something from them. Now, the next day that you go to work, a couple of days later, when you're up in the greenhouse and you're working away, you hear a whispering in the background. And it sounds like it's got to be 30, 40, 50. It sounds like a crowd. It sounds like a whole lot of tiny little people somewhere in your greenhouse talking.
Who's there?
And all you hear is a whole lot of whispering, and you can kind of make out a little bit of, oh, the sun. Yeah. Yeah. No, this is good. Yeah. Getting fed. Okay. This is, yeah. Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Oh, she's coming around with the water. Guys.
Blair looks down at her plants and looks up at the top of the greenhouse. Who's there? This isn't nice. This is a really mean joke. Who's there?
It just continues on. And then you hear one kind of little voice go, I think she's talking at us. And a whole lot of other voices going, no, they don't.
Are you talking about me? Who are you?
And the voices just kind of seem to whisper away and quiet. And you can almost get this feeling of stillness, like almost an expectation going on in your greenhouse, as if the time is paused, waiting for something to happen.
This is really weird. I think I'm going to have to bring this up, because who does that? Who just starts talking about people in their own green? Who even knows about this place? And Alara's just kind of like musing to herself and talking to herself. She's just so like, she's kind of not sure what's going on. And so she waters the plants.
And as you're watering the plants again, you keep hearing little giggles and laughter, and it starts to rise up again in those little whispers and little voices going, water, 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 water.
Why are you? Who are you? And keep watering the plants.
And then there's this one voice again goes, guys, yeah. Guys, yeah. She's talking at us. And then a whole lot of little voices going, no. They don't do that.
Who doesn't do that?
And again, there's quiet for a moment. And then there's this one little tiny voice that goes, people that talk to plants. Oh, I'd expect an answer.
Lara crouches down near, where the top of the plant box is, like the top of the soil. She just crouches down and she goes, are you talking?
And what kind of plants are you crouching over at the moment?
I'm crouching, I think they're marigolds.
Marigolds?
Yes.
And you can see almost like a bit of a breeze touch the marigolds. There's a shiver that goes through the plants. Not that you can feel it. And you hear a little tiny voice from very close going, wow, she's big. And another voice that goes, she's close. Close is big. I want her to be far again. Far is small.
Who are you?
I'm yellow. And then there's another one that goes, and I'm white. I'm mostly white. And I'm a beautiful white. And then suddenly there are voices all over the place talking about different colors, the colors that you can see amongst your flora in the greenhouse. Weirdly, no one mentions green.
Why you guys can talk? I didn't know plants could talk. And I whisper, Lara whispers a little bit more. Am I talking too loud?
And then everything kind of stills down again. And it gets absolutely quiet for a heartbeat. And another. And then that little voice that you heard originally goes, she thinks she's going crazy. This is kind of fun. This is okay, wait, how? Okay, by dandelions weeding, how does she know to talk with us? And then suddenly it sounds like a major argument going on. Put 50, 60, 70 people in a room, give them a topic that they all disagree with, give them 15 topics they all disagree with, and you can't quite make out what's being said exactly, but there's a lot of raised voices all around you.
Do you want to actually talk to me about this? Because it seems like I'm causing a fight.
And then everything kind of just stirs down until that, last, because there's always that last voice going, yeah, and I tell you, no, we don't talk with them. And then it's quiet again. And then that first original voice is, well, water, please.
I think I can do that. And she's gonna stand up and take her water pot and just start dripping some water over all the plants. And then she's actually gonna reach, she has a little satchel that has like some crushed up eggshells and things like that. And she's just gonna start sprinkling them on the soil around the plants as well.
And once again, you get all sorts of, giggling and chuckling and almost kind of happy party noises going on in little tiny voices.
You know what? When you're ready to talk to me, I will talk to you too. But you just have a good night, I guess, if you even know what night is. And Lara's gonna put everything down, shake her head, and just walk right out to the hidden fire escape.
Okay.
Or not hidden fire escape, hidden fire door that's at the top.
As you're leaving the greenhouse, you open the door to the greenhouse, and from just kind of beside and behind you, you can still hear the little voices, but you hear one voice very clearly going, okay, see you later, big job.
Yeah. Okay. So she's gonna just shake her head like, okay, and just walks over through the greenhouse, out the door, and she will basically go towards the stairwell door, the hidden stairwell door.
Excellent. And it being the standard Thursday, I'm going to imagine that you, once work is done, go home, relax for a little bit, have a very confusing discussion with your landlady of some sort, possibly. Change if you feel like it, and then head back to the hospital for the standard Thursday night, during which you are learning all sorts of fun and interesting things.
Indeed.
Okay, and much like the rest, you're just, the timing on everything is perfect. Everything seems to, as you get closer, everything quiets down, and there is a sense of both peace and anticipation that comes as you get within a block or so. It's now become not habit, not routine, closer to the feeling of a tradition of going on the Thursday nights, where it's something to look forward to and enjoy and to zen out a little bit with the rest of the Motley. And you'll find the exact same thing. You go in, the store is, the tuck shop is closed, but Misty more often than not is upstairs. Of the three of them, she spends the most time with the Motley in the freehold. However, she tends to be the one that has less specific teaching to be able to offer and more general information and knowledge to share. But she seems to be the one who likes being in there the most. So with the elevator doors opening and you joining the rest of them heading towards the freehold, we will pick up with our final member of the Motley, but definitely not the least member, one of the more energetic and bouncy of the members. So Alette, on a Thursday, what's going on this Thursday, considering everything that's been happening the last couple of weeks?
Today's not a good day for Alette. Earlier today, during a demonstration with the kids, Winnie, a kinkajou that she brought in, made a kid cry because it stole his lollipop. And yeah, she's preparing to get off work and go to the hospital, but right now she's arguing with a tortoise.
Now, during the last couple of weeks with things at work, Ed has been the one driving you to the hospital regularly to take the animals in to visit the kids. And he's been spending a lot of time downstairs with Gertie, as is usual, though he's a little more, he's not as bragging about it as much when he's driving you back. You've also met, there's a new gentleman who's been hired by the zoo, who is apparently a veterinarian assistant named Dan. And you get a sense that you don't know Dan when you meet him, but you know something about Dan. He feels very familiar, kind of like your Motley feels familiar. And when you meet him, he kind of gives you a bit of an eye as well. Kind of a, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think you and I will do good. And it's almost like he waits for a day or two to catch you when you're alone working in one of the pens, doing a bit of straightening up, cleaning up a little bit. The animals are cycled through so that their habitats can be reset and refreshed periodically. And he kind of leans in the doorway and watches you work for a few minutes and says, so, Alette, hi. Nice to catch up with you, finally. I've been trying to meet everybody and spend more than 2 minutes with them, the old handshake and get around. So I gotta ask you, like I ask everyone else here. So what favorite animals? Which ones do you identify with most here?
I love them all. I see myself a little bit in each one.
Yeah, but which one do you see more in yourself? Rather than seeing yourself in them?
No, some would say I'm a cougar.
Well, I could make an obvious joke, but I'm not gonna, because you're not. I haven't seen you in leopard skin tights, and I don't know that your hair can go quite that high. So I'll pass on the attempt at the dad jokes. I'm way too young to be a dad. Well, could be, I suppose.
Hey, whatever floats your boat, Danny.
Well, and floating in boats, that's a good place to go. I got to say that it's the otters. It's the I love the family that we got here. I would just recommend that, if you're ever in there of an evening and you're counting, don't worry about the numbers. There's you can never tell with otters. Sometimes there's 6, sometimes there's 7, if you know what I mean.
Very mischievous.
Yeah, they can be. They can be up to a few fun things. So yeah, you can never be too sure how many you got going on. And he kind of reaches up and does this with the hair and goes, so, yeah, if I can ever help you out with things around here, answering questions.
I'll give you a hand.
I'm not just a veterinarian assistant. I might also play an otter on TV. Yeah. Okay, we'll go with that. That was a really lame joke. Damn, I really need to work on my socializing skills. Anyways, yeah. Okay, it's kind of cool and everything, and yeah, we'll see you around because well, you work here and I work here, so.
See you later.
And he kind of slips back out. You can hear him kind of grumbling at himself as he heads back towards the hospital and holding section of the main building.
And I look down at the tortoise because I'm trying to clean his shell. You try to bite me again, I will kick you. What do you think about that guy?
And the eyes roll just a little bit. And the
yeah.
tortoise kind of like snaps once or twice and goes, don't get into the leg bits.
You know what? No more apples for you.
That's not fair.
Yeah, well, biting's not nice.
My leg hurts.
Well, being a grumpy Gus about it isn't helping.
Want an apple?
You're not getting it.
That's not fair.
If I give you the apple, will you give me your leg?
That's not a good trade. I need my leg.
I need to clean it. I don't want to keep it. You see, I have two of my own.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. And if you finish cleaning the turtle, the shell, the legs, the whole bit, he settles down a little bit. Yeah, so standard Thursday night. So I'm thinking that after your day at the zoo, not being the best of fun days that you could have, all things considered, you're going to head downtown to the hospital for about the usual time. Excellent. And you've been, Gertie has been teaching you a fair bit of stuff with respect to the ability to do things. So, she's been the one who's been, for all of you, Misty's been giving general knowledge. Gertie generally shows you folk how to actually do things and make things happen, though generally with a very huge dose of humor connected. And Beatrice shows up from time to time, dispenses intelligence and wisdom, shows a trick or two, and then buggers off because, well, she's busy with things. So much like, the other Thursdays that have gone on, you get down there, you park in the underground, and you're into the elevator, and you come off the elevator on the 7th floor, just as the rest of the Motley is coming off the elevator. And Gertie is waiting down at the down the hall by the door to the freehold. And all of you are heading to the freehold. And Gertie watches you slowly arrive. And again, you could hear things going on. There are people on this floor. There are patients in rooms. There are interns, nursing staff, medical staff moving around. But weirdly, nobody in this hallway. Just nearby. And Gertie says, okay, so who's got the key?
That would be me. And she pulls out the key from her pocket.
Well, hang on, actually. Lara,
Cool.
would you roll me? There we go. A larceny and dex, please, with a difficulty of about 6.
Let me find my larceny index.
Actually, sorry, difficulty of 8.
And I have a specialty in cat-like reflexes. Does this apply?
Sure, why not? So
Just
that
wondering.
means, yeah, if you get any 10s, you get to roll them again. Or sorry, they count for double. That's right.
So the specialty, just for my clarification, doesn't give me an extra dice. It gives
No,
me.
it gives it
Perfect.
doubles your 10s.
All right. So that should be. And you said with a difficulty of 8.
8. So 8s, 9s, and 10s.
Okay, so I've got actually 4 successes. That's not too bad.
4. Okay.
Yeah.
So Gertie asked for the key, and Lee, you reach into your pocket and it's not there.
These are the pants that these are in. Oh no.
Did you put it in the wrong scale? The wrong gill?
Did I notice what happened?
No.
Oh.
Actually, why not? Anyone who wants to try, roll me a perception plus kenning of a difficulty 8.
Now here's a question. Do I know what I just did?
You roll me a perception plus kenning as well. Only your difficulty is 6.
Session. So,
Where's Kenny?
and
Kenning's under talents.
1, 2, 4. And then
And what's the difficulty?
8. So 8s, 9s, and 10s.
uh
And a
Okay.
difficulty of 6 for me, you said?
Yes, please.
Yeah, that's 4 successes again.
darn, I got a success.
Yeah, me too.
3?
3
Okay.
successes.
Elect?
1.
Okay. So Penn, you kind of, everyone else is clueless, but you know to look to Lara. And Lara, you know that you've got something in your pocket that you shouldn't have, but you know, it's just natural sometimes that things move from pocket to pocket.
I do have a I do have a specialty in perception for insightful. So I did roll a 10, so that means it would be 4 successes, not 3.
Okay, beautiful. Yep. So yeah, you know where the key has probably ended up.
Lara, check your pockets.
And there is an appropriately shaped and sized key.
How'd you do
What?
that?
I don't know how this got here,
That is cool.
but I
Scary.
don't know how it got here.
Scary, but
I
cool.
don't remember doing this.
And Gertie just kind of chuckles and goes, "Oh yes, no, that's I dated a Pisky once. Oh, let me tell you, he was able to walk away with." And at that moment, Beatrice comes around the corner and says, "Gertie, none of that, thank you. These are young minds; they don't need to know this sort of thing quite yet."
Okay,
And Gertie
so
was like, "I was just going to say the rings on my fingers were not safe." Beatrice goes, "I am sure that was where it was going."
okay, so it looks like things wind up in my pockets without me knowing. Things disappear from my pockets without me knowing. Here's your key, and I hand it back over.
To
Big packet.
I hand it back over to you.
to me. Oh, it's like,
Yes.
and to which I guess I hand it over to.
No, Gertie just steps back and says,
And 10 will give Lara a pat on the shoulder and be like, "It's okay. It happens sometimes."
Stealing is bad. I don't know why that wound up in my pocket.
If you didn't know, I don't blame you.
Lee,
okay.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I don't know how that wound up in my pocket.
Like I said, it spooked me for a minute there, but at the same time, it was kind of awesome. Just, I don't know. But Gertie, is there a way to control that?
Yeah, I need to control this because otherwise I'm going to wind up, stealing something from the wrong person and it's not going to be good.
So Gertie says, first of all, let's go in here because talking in here is a whole lot better than talking out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so with very little celebration, but if this were a TV show with very beautiful animation, unlocks the door, pushes it open, and proceeds to walk in.
And once again, for our viewers who are here for the first time, from the outside, this looks like any other kind of patient waiting, gathering space. It's from the waist up, it's all glass. You can see in there, it's all tile and that off-white kind of landlord beige wall, nice big windows. There's a fridge, there's an ice station, there's a microwave, there's a washer and dryer over in a corner. There are a number of couches that look okay, not hugely, not new, but not hugely worn, a couple of tables. But when we enter, hang on a second, I'm going to have some fun. 1, 2, 4, 6. When we enter, Crystal, do you remember what people would see when you enter the freehold?
Well, from what I think you said some of the seating is still there, but it's more like wooden instead of, say, metal, and the upholstery instead of polyester. It might be maybe something with a I don't know, leather seats or woven stuff. The microwave has somehow turned into a fireplace, like a kind of big one. The walls, instead of being, basic wallboard and paint, it's stone and stucco sort of stuff in between. There's big wooden beams holding everything up. The temperature is different. It's a lot more just sort of cozy feeling inside, and you're just like, yeah, I'll just kind of mellow out here. I think.
Okay. And everybody files in and the door closes and you are all comfortably ensconced for another Thursday evening in the freehold. So once the door is swung shut behind you, Gertie says, okay, first of all, class. It is not stealing. It is the appropriation of an item which might require a different homing. Sometimes people have things that should belong to other people. So think of yourself as someone who is helping the item on that journey. In this case, it was indeed supposed to be in Lee's possession. So you helped it go from Lee to Lee. And Beatrice says, that's a twist. And that is not even deserving of you, Gertie. And Gertie was like, I try.
So like Robin Hood. Like Robin Hood taking stuff that doesn't belong to the or that shouldn't belong to those people and giving it to the other people. Okay. But what how does that work if I accidentally rob a bank?
Have you robbed a bank yet?
No.
The big stuff is not easy for a Pisky. It's the little things that happen.
Like a key.
Like a key.
Okay.
So maybe not the money in a bank, but perhaps a key card on a security guard? I didn't say that.
No, of course you didn't. Of course you didn't. And Lara makes a mental note.
It's a pesky pisky reappropriating personal property.
A pesky pisky.
It's not, for some it's pesky.
What? Oh,
for others it might
that's
be
really cute.
Oh.
And Gertie chuckles and says, say that 18 times fast, and heads off to make the tea, as she usually does.
Pesky.
Pesky, pisky, pickpocket.
Well, I imagine I guess I am pretty pesky. I mean, for some reason, I know you're probably upset that I look like you right now. Like,
Oh, I see it now.
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
I can see how that would make you upset because I mean, you're unique, and then me just doing that thing, and I'm sorry. I'm really
It was
sorry.
like the first time we came in here, you're like me. I think it was like that for a couple of weeks.
I'm
Now
sorry,
it just
Pen.
rotates.
No, it's fine. You'll be you when you're you.
So
Okay.
just for our first time viewers, let's do a quick round of what do we look like now that we're in the freehold, and why not? Because you brought it up so beautifully, by the way, Lara. What do you look like?
So Lara has flaming red hair like she would normally in the mortal world, but right now, pretty much all the rest of her, face included, looks like Pen.
And Pen usually has starry type freckles on for skin, kind of autumn shifting colors of hair, and is dressed in a bodice with just a little corset and just a pair of slacks, but carries a backpack or like a satchel that has art supplies and that sort of thing, like a little fold out easel, those sorts of things.
Alette, once you walk in from the mortal world, what does everybody get to see?
Them ears.
My kitty ears and a long black tail.
Okay, and Lee, how does Lee look different?
Very vibrant purple, almost bluish hair, iridescent, sort of like green, sea green to like blue scaling from like where her flesh would be. The jeans are technically now leather leggings. As some form or other of like makeshift sort of sleeveless, not doublet, but it's like a chemise of some kind underneath, or a shirt. And then the leather jacket is similar sort of scales, but it's sort of like almost like a punk rock version of a medieval jerkin.
Actually, the leather jacket doesn't change at all, except that the scaling now becomes very apparent. Doesn't need the light at all. It is scaled.
New jacket, who dis?
Yeah, neckline to hem, cuff to cuff. And dang it, I forgot your character name.
Lily.
Lily. What does Lily look like now that you've stepped in from the mortal world?
Well, a lot like this. As I'm dressed. Well, see, my hair fell down, so I can't make it. Can't quite make it do what it was doing earlier, but just big hair and sort of suede bodice type thing and blouse and my bag will kind of look like that, of fuzzy with stars on it. And yeah.
Okay, so Gertie starts making tea as she normally does. She takes this old kind of looking kettle, very large one, and fills it with water from the sink, which is no longer a turn tap sink, but is now a hand pump sink. And she reaches over and puts it on the hook over the fire and prepares the mugs, and just seems to be reaching into cupboards and putting bits of leaves and stuff into various mugs. And you know from experience that you will get the tea that you are just in the mood for that night. It seems to be her talent is knowing what tea to hand you every Thursday night. So Beatrice waits for you to kind of settle yourselves down and says, right, now, we've had a few Thursdays. Are there any questions to start this Thursday? How are we feeling, Motley? Are we feeling like we're getting to know each other and ourselves?
Well, I'm cool, but is she still a fish?
Technically, I think I'm a seal.
Seal, yes.
Technically, she is a waterborne fae, and they come in a variety of flavors.
So I guess some are fish and some are me. Are there?
Yes.
What other types are there?
Oh, there's a fair number. It all depends on whether we're talking oceans, saltwater, freshwater, bogs and marshes, streams and rivers. Some of them are very benign and wonderful and helpful, and some of them are the sorts you do not want to run into, particularly on a
Mean.
moonless night.
Very mean.
Sort of off topic, but kind of on topic. Can I turn into one?
What? A mean?
A
No.
seal? A seal?
Oh,
Well, now that you have your coat, quite likely we would have to dump you in the water and find out. And Gertie from Bustling with the Tea goes, it has to be freestanding water, can't be a bathtub.
We'd have to do a trip to Lake Ontario.
Are we going to dump her in a lake?
wait.
Can you go dump me in a lake?
I'm game. Seems like a good story.
Sounds like fun.
I mean, she could go to the Don Valley too. I mean, it's a rushing river.
Would the aquarium work?
that technically counts as a bathtub, though. It's like
Well, because
standing
they make
water.
it all like salt water because they bring in all these, you know.
Does this mean we need to do a trip to Marineland? Everybody loves Marineland.
Marineland's a bad place.
Yeah.
I want to
heard
go
that.
there.
I wouldn't
Bad
recommend it.
vibes. Bad vibes.
I don't know it per se, or nor do I remember it, but bad vibes. Mm-mm.
We could take her to the zoo.
Oh yeah, you work at a zoo, Alette.
I mean, I don't know where I would put you, but
It'd also mean maybe like throwing in a tank with like animals.
And also, this makes it seem like y'all are going to be throwing me into one. I'm pretty sure I'm going to just cannonball if I want to.
I was gonna roll you, but
I mean, the lake's the
I got
closest thing.
legs, Alette.
Yeah.
The lake's
Also,
the
not
closest
sushi.
thing, so
Beach day? Beach day? Beach day?
Beach episode is a little early for a beach episode.
Beach
Is that what's
episode?
going on?
well, I mean, we could go to the beaches or the beach or whatever they're calling it nowadays. Toronto, get your act together. Come on, out of character. Yeah, we could go to the beaches. That's
Is
not
that-
far.
Does that conflict with what's on the docket today?
I don't know.
Beatrice as well. This evening, I mean, I don't think you'll want to go to the beaches this evening. You will still want to find a fairly secluded place to try
Yeah.
things out.
Yeah, we don't want other people seeing you do that. That'd be hard to explain.
But
Well-
if you're going to pick Lake Ontario, my suggestion, and it is only my suggestion, would be doing it in a late afternoon.
We could also go to the Humber River, or we could go to the Don Valley River. The mouth of the river might be a good place. Goes into Lake Ontario.
Both
Maybe
of
a little
those
bit.
rivers would also be good.
Yeah, an
Now-
in-between place sounds good.
Now, I'm expecting some questions because tomorrow night you get to have your first night out in public as a Motley. Word has gotten around that tomorrow night there will be a court gathering. It is to occur at Cloud City Gardens at sunset, after sunset. So anytime after about 8:30 should do. I would not say don't be too early, but don't be too late. You'll find the doorkeepers there, and they will escort you in or allow you to enter the court. Much like a freehold, court is held in places that are not necessarily on, that side of the mists. Court is usually held on this side, though that is up to the person hosting the court Sometimes they insist on doing it on that side of the mists. Your hostess is going to be Baroness Donna Holmschmidt.
Anna Holy Schmidt.
Home.
Home.
Schmidt.
Holmschmidt.
Home Schmidt.
Yes.
European. Gotcha.
Schmidt or
Yes.
Schmidt?
Schmidt.
Schmidt.
Schmidt. Home Schmidt.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes. Germanic roots for Smith.
Make sure that you remember the name and don't get it wrong, because that is very disrespectful.
Schmidt.
Oh,
And
yeah.
What was it?
Holy
What,
Schmidt.
do we call her just Baroness, or do we call her Baroness Holshit, or Baroness?
Or my
what,
lady.
What is the middle name? What is her first name? Baroness Donna?
Sorry, Dana.
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 Or do we call her like how does she get addressed? How do we address her?
Addressing her as Baroness is never a wrong move.
Okay.
Now, you will probably be greeted by a chamberlain or a concierge or a major domo. I'm not sure what the Baroness's household consists of at the moment. When you go to court, there is the host or hostess, and their household will provide certain people and certain positions. And then, of course, there is the city, the duchy, and there will always be people from the ducal household as well who will be working there. But primarily, it will probably be the Baroness's household who will be running things. And then they will have a number of various changelings in attendance. I would expect, who knows, could be all sorts of people. We haven't been in quite some time because we don't go to these things. But as a new Motley, gathered together by the Freehold, it is time for you to make your debut to our public so that they know you are about.
Question?
Yes, Everly.
Dress code?
As it will be on this side of the mists, you're going to appear exactly as you are.
Well, okay.
So this is why most court meetings are on this side of the mists. It's for some less creepy, for others it's more creepy. But there's a little more truth in what you see and what goes on. There are certain rules to the court.
I was about to ask if there was any specific things laid down.
Be very, very careful what you promise. Oaths and contracts are taken very seriously. Words are important.
Very important.
It is the same as any sojourn into the dreaming. Be very careful what you give, offer, accept, or take.
I think that last one was for you, Pisky Pickpocket.
Oh, it could be for any of you. Be polite, but be firm. Don't let them run all over you. That's very important to make sure that you make a stand as a Motley from the moment you step in, because there will be members of the household and of the courts who will be looking for advantage. They always are. Remember that everything to most changelings is a game.
So that being
And
said,
changelings like cats don't fight to the death normally. They fight to win, because if the loser doesn't survive, it's no fun.
So question.
Yes.
Can I get some more education lessons on how to not pickpocket? Because I don't want to get the Motley in trouble. And if I'm not even aware that I'm doing it, I want to make sure that I'm not doing it.
You'd think the court would have safeguards against that, though.
That's a force of will. And the safeguard is usually when a Pisky enters the court, 3 or 4 people with big swords and other things like that watch them very closely.
Okay.
Protect you.
So just be very, very, very aware, and it can take a little work.
Okay.
But this is why you have your Motley. They can help.
I need to
It'll be
learn.
okay.
I need to learn how to not do this.
Yes, particularly if you're going to be among our society. Now, that is a skill that is very, very handy at times. Just make sure you know when it is handy and when it is not. And Gertie starts pouring the tea and goes, "Oh, I'll say it's handy. handy." And Beatrice
Gertie,
just gives her a look.
Gertie's troubled the capital T, and I absolutely love it. Speaking of tea.
Hey, Laura. Can I have that piece of charcoal you took from me back? Left pocket.
And okay. She reaches into her left pocket, pulls out, and then like gives it to Pen and kind of dusts off her fingers. She's like, I really, really want to learn how to not do this.
Figure it
Gets me
out.
Dirty.
It'll be okay.
And standard, when Gertie goes, she reaches into the fireplace and grabs the kettle by the handle. And again, no gloves, no mitts, no nothing. Just grabs the boiling water in the metal kettle and pours the tea before putting the kettle down on a metal grill. And then starts handing out tea to everybody. And once again, it is just the most exquisite. It's what you need. It's the flavor you were looking for tonight. And Alette, particularly for you, it is a very calming tea. After your day, it's kind of like, okay, this tea kind of doesn't make it all better, but kind of balances it a little bit.
And she's just face down, just licking it like she's drinking out of a bowl.
Okay. So, you may, because you are a Motley, not all changelings hang in Motleys, but all Motleys are made of changelings. So, as you are a Motley and have a known association, you may be approached by one or more of the fair folk and asked to go on a quest, to perform a favor, to do something. I am not saying to say yes, and I'm not saying to say no. I am saying to tread carefully, because again, words are very important. Be careful what you promise. However, I would expect all Motleys the first time at court always start with a quest of some sort. And Gertie just kind of chuckles and goes, "Yeah, I remember my first quest." Beatrice is like, "Enough. Thank you. We all remember your first quest, Gertie. After a couple of tipples, you like telling people about your first quest. I'm sure that the Motley will find out in time. Tonight is not the time."
Speaking to coming together as a Motley, has anyone put any thought into what name we want to give ourselves? Yeah.
I'm kind of partial to Blue Jays.
Well, in the nose, don't you think? Yeah. But they are a corvid. That does make sense.
Not my favorite.
I was thinking sort of similar along the lines of like bluebirds. They kind of mean, they're supposed to mean joy and harmony and honesty and, you know, and the mythical bluebird of happiness. Would that not be something that we can strive to do, is maybe make the world a bit more happier? I mean, Alette, you work at a zoo. I'm sure you make a lot of people happy there. And Lara, from what I remember and seeing you in the gift shop a few times, everyone's happy to buy something from the gift shop. And Penn, you're an artist. As far as I know, I think that makes everybody happy. That would make me happy. um, and Lily, like, you seem to know what everyone likes to read. I mean,
Well, I try.
just the other day, you gave me that awesome book that I never thought I would ever actually want to read, and I couldn't put it down, and I finished it all in one day.
Oh, good.
I want more in the series, by the way.
Oh yes, I will bring them.
And I mean, I just found out I really like to swim, so I guess I make myself happy. I don't know, who knows? But I mean, it's a thought. Blue Jay's not a bad idea, but I mean, Bluebird's a bit more general.
I could go get behind that.
Telling argument.
A blue jay picked a tick off of me once. I'm with it.
So what do we think? A vote for Blue Jay or a vote for Bluebird? Do we want to come to a vote, I
Blue
guess?
jay the ones that like don't build their own nests. They like lay their eggs in other birds' nests, and then because
That was the cuckoo.
No, what? Maybe. Wait. What was that?
Hello. Doge. Sounds like a doge.
Oh no. Yeah, no, I don't know. I thought blue jays did that too. I don't know.
I could go for a bluebird.
I mean,
Well,
bluebirds are all right.
I mean,
Make
show
the
of
world a
hands,
better place.
everyone for Bluebird?
Sure.
I'm
Yes,
just
we're the-
happy that you're happy.
I guess for the Bluebirds.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I thought we would, maybe adventure a little before we figured it out. But I mean, this is good. Bluebird. Nice little round, fluffy blue things.
I was picturing.
Well, worst case scenario, if a name comes up that's better while we're adventuring, we'll switch to that. And for now, the bluebird should do nicely, I think.
I agree.
It'd be better than showing up to court and being, we're the Motley of insert name here. Or
The
blank for
Motley of
later.
the Rookery.
Yeah, we could. Well, either one.
But I think the bluebirds would be great until if and or when.
When one comes up and we all seem to like, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it fits for
I'm
now.
happy with blue jays because you're happy with blue jays. Or
Well, then I'm
bluebirds.
happy that you're happy
Bluebirds.
too.
Yes.
Okay. So
So do I get to jump in a river or what?
Shoulder.
what did Alette say?
Alette's rubbing her face in Lily's shoulder, purring while she's kind of flicking at her hair.
That is adorable.
She's not even paying attention when she's just like, flick.
So do I get tossed into a river tonight or do we wait until after court? What's the plan for this Thursday night?
Okay, so as you wind that discussion down, you look up, and Beatrice, her eyes are a little bit wider as she's watching you and listening. Gertie, however, has her tea halfway to her face, and the jaw has dropped open, and she's B. Don't call me B. It's Betty. They're all love and light. Dear hearts, what have we gotten into? What kind of? And it's like, just shh, Gertie. They will find their own way. Yes, but they're talking about being happy and loving. And does anyone? Shh, Gertie. They will find their own way. And if they can bring that to the world, then we support them. And Gertie's like, oh, yes, but has anyone seen the raven? Just shh, Gertie. They are the Blue Jays. That is their decision.
Birds.
Birds.
Bluebirds.
Bluebirds.
I'm sorry. They are the Bluebirds, Gertie. That is their
Bluebirds of
decision.
happiness.
And Gertie's like, okay. Not saying anything, but when they get hit with a stick, Beatrice is like, shh.
You ever seen a flock of them?
Okay, so
So we're either throwing me in the river or we're unpacking what you guys just talked about.
this is all your decision. What you bring to the world is what you bring to the world. Having a positive approach is not the worst thing that has ever started in this freehold. And actually, it's kind of refreshing. Gertie's like, oh, bless my, really? We're going to go there, Beatrice? Wow, they really have kicked up something from your youth. Beatrice again is like, Gertie, shh. So yes, Bluebirds it is. I think that is an excellent step forward. Every journey begins with the first step, and you five have taken, I think, a fantastic one.
So what
And
now?
I go to
Well-
river
Hmm.
and I become one with my people and sing the song of my people.
Sneaking you out to the river now would be problematic when they bed check in a couple of hours.
Mm.
Here's something else that you will have to think of. You're going to court tomorrow night. It is quite likely that it might run late. How are you going to make sure that Everly is not found out as a escapee, shall we call it?
Can we make a
Can we-
copy of me?
Can we pay somebody to take her place?
Those are both good suggestions. Which one would you like to investigate?
Well, it's up to you. It's up to you, Everly, because this is your thing.
Mm. Hey, Pen, how good are you at making living dolls?
I'm pretty good at chicanery. It's been a while since I've had good practice at it though. And with enough time and prep and a little bit of glamour, I could probably fashion something together.
I tried
But-
one of those before, but I got the wrong cheese for it.
Because Cliff, if I'm to recall and be a person who's residing in sick kids hospital, when they just bed check, they usually just pop in, see how I'm doing, see if I need anything, move on.
Yep.
Be like,
Yep.
if there's any way
Now,
we can make like key
if-
phrases and stuff, like,
if
yep,
you're
I'm good. Thank you.
awake, the times you've been awake and they've popped in, they've quietly kind of whispered, is everything good? And you've been able to answer that, yep, you're good, or you need something. They have come in and they've taken a quick look at the instruments, but they never get within closer than about 2 or 3 feet. The times you're asleep when they pop in, you have no idea because you're asleep.
I'm trying to figure out if Lily would know how to do this. Would Lily know how to do that? To like say if we got like a dummy or something, or just got a bunch of towels and sheets and sort of rolled it up into a person shape, like would I know how to?
Betty,
Make
you're
it-
the head nurse. What's the protocol if the patient's sleeping when they come in for the bed check?
Excellent. Always clarify first. So when one of our staff goes in, if the patient is sleeping, there is a softly made inquiry. And if the patient does not disturb themselves and is not awake, Then they are to check the equipment to make sure that everything is working as it should be very quickly. Takes a few seconds to just take a look, and then they slip off to the next room. Our patients need their rest. We do not intentionally disturb that rest.
I got it.
What?
All I need is a wig.
Wig?
I got just the person in mind.
Oh, you have someone in mind?
Hmm. Oh, like somebody would just be there as a stand-in, sort of.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Well,
All I
Will
need
the
is
person tell on us?
Nope.
Okay. Okay.
Cool.
You seem to have this in hand then.
So if somebody's willing to get the wig, I can get the body.
Whoa. Okay. Like the person, like a live person. We're talking about live person, right?
Hopefully.
It's not very bluebird of you.
Well, I mean, I don't know what'll happen between now and then, but I mean, I'll try my best.
It's honestly better than nothing and risking something, because I think we gotta get very technical if we're gonna be making a copy of me.
Well, I mean, they'll expect you to be asleep, and like they're not necessary. Like even if the lights aren't necessarily on, it's just be like, oh, okay, yeah, there's somebody there.
And they'll be checking machinery though. I'll be hooked up, technically.
Well, yeah, but I
Or
mean,
rather, Betty, do I have to be connected still? Is there any issue why I'm still connected at this point in time?
It's standard operating procedure. We don't have you on the drip, but when you're asleep, we want to be able to monitor your heart rate and such from the doorway. So that's why you just wear the little.
Oh, so it's just a little thing. Okay.
Yes.
All you got to do is just rip it off.
No,
and-
slip it off and slip it on. It's compression, I believe.
yeah, it's a little clippy thing.
Just a little clip. There's no poking or anything like that. It just clips on and checks
No.
your pulse.
Exactly.
So I think your idea might work, Alette. Who'd you have in mind?
I have a phone call to make.
Oh,
I wonder who she's got in mind.
How did data hear the signal?
Want to check your phone? There is no signal here whatsoever.
Well, we should probably take our leave.
oh,
have
right,
those.
because we're in here and not out there, and yes,
And they're out there.
yes.
There's no reception here. Of all the things to have, there's no reception here. Okay.
And Gertie says, why would you think there'd be reception here?
The dreaming? Who knows?
Time moves completely differently. Remember, you step in here and we're in here for hours, and you step out there and a little time has passed. So if you could connect your phone, you would be talking so very fast when it was heard out there.
Wow.
Now, that doesn't happen with all freeholds, but trying to get a cell signal across the dreaming has been something knockers have been working on for a while now.
The real dream is perfect wireless signal. It's true.
That is the perfect dream right there. Bluebirds of Happiness goal number 1. Wi-Fi signal everywhere.
Free Wi-Fi signal everywhere. Yes.
Yes.
We will be unbeholden to capitalism.
Talk with the knockers. If anyone can make that happen, they can. Right then, Motley. If there's nothing else,
No, I think we're good.
we'll get on your way. Now, tomorrow night, everyone knows where Cloud Garden is, right?
Yes. It's on Richmond, right?
That is correct. Yes.
It's
Just
on
behind,
Richmond.
just behind the bay.
It's really
Lara.
pretty.
Lara, can I go with you?
Yes, yes, definitely.
I was going to say, who wants to stop and pick up our resident swimmer?
Oh, that's a new one. I'm kind of getting tired of mystery.
I'll come and pick you up. And how long has it been since you've ridden a bike?
Gee, I don't remember.
Okay.
Good answer.
Maybe then we should take transit. But I don't know. Maybe I can teach you how to ride a bike or teach you how to remember how to ride a bike. We'll see.
Teaching me to remember a lot of things would be really nice, actually.
Okay.
Maybe someone in court will know.
I'll pick you up tomorrow.
All right, then.
Okay.
Awkwardly,
Beatrice-
finger guns, like, it's the date.
Sounds like a plan.
And Beatrice kind of stops as she reaches the door and says, so everyone else is meeting at Cloud Garden then?
I'm not sure where that is in relation to, like, say, library or where my apartment is. So
I'd have to probably borrow a car from one of the grumps, but yeah, I could make it there.
Well, technically, Alette needs to meet us here as well with our decoy.
true.
And then
Yes.
take me- and
Alette
then
needs
seek
to
me
find a
out.
body.
Although I think
So should we all come here and then go together?
Come here, set up the decoy, and then head out as one. That makes sense.
Yes. Yeah, let's go for that.
there's a way I can change my appearance.
That way, if we get lost,
we
we
can do
all
that.
get lost, not like one at a time.
All right. Fantastic.
I gotta figure
Okay.
out how to look different. So, well, I'll think about that in the morning.
Okay. Now, with that, at that position, how are we time-wise? People feel like a break?
I think
Thinking
so.
so.
We'll
Yep.
go for a break.
Excellent. So, viewers, I mean, there might be 60 of this time because I predicted 2 last time, and wow, you guys amazed us all by showing up and having fun. Go hydrate, put water into your system, get water out of your system, whatever you want to do with water. If it's water with additives like tea or coffee or the purest of waters from Poland, help yourself as well. And we will
Spicy
meet back. Ooh, yes, that too. We will meet back here in just a few short minutes.
Woot.
Paint your sky in phthalo blue and alizarin crimson, swirls of cadmium yellow, sienna and vermilion. Make it any way you want, 'cause it's your world in the end. Paint yourself a little tree and give it a little friend. Pick the colors that you like, held together on your brush. indigo sky in phthalo blue, and a alizarin crimson, swirls of cadmium yellow, sienna and vermilion. Make it any way you want, 'cause it's your world in the end. Paint yourself a little tree and give it a little friend. Pick the colors that you like, held together on your brush. If you don't like it, you can try again, there is no rush. You don't need to justify, you got nothing to defend. Know that there is nothing wrong with
Welcome back, hydrated viewers. We hope you're all sitting comfortably. You've gotten your popcorn. We haven't quite gotten to soap opera levels yet, so small popcorn will do just fine. I recommend the spice salt. It just adds that little bit of kick to it. Just make sure to put on a little less than you normally would, because it adds a little bit of kick to it. So when we left our Motley, they had spent a standard Thursday evening chatting with a couple of their mentors, or yeah, we'll call them that for the time being, about going to court on Friday. And we don't mean the sort with a guy in a black robe who hammers on the desk and tells everyone to settle down. Though who knows, because this will be the Motley's first time at court. There might be a guy in a black robe who hammers on a desk and tells everyone to settle down. We've yet to find out. Okay, so Motley, what are we up to tonight? It's Friday. The day has wrapped for most people who work the 9 to 5, and the boring, mundane, banal world is slowing down and converting over to the sparkling, glamorous, wild nightlife world of Toronto. Woohoo!
I'm gonna be in my room anxiously waiting for Alette and whoever the decoy is, because I don't think I still didn't get an answer on that one.
So
Of
Alette,
who it was.
you had someone to chat with, a phone call to make.
So I am actually in the beauty supply store picking up a purple wig, and I called Jonathan.
Okay, Jonathan, to introduce you folk to this young man, is an assistant zookeeper and a zoology intern who happens to work with Alette, and who is extremely, let us say, charmed by her. And the phone rings 3 or 4 times, and then you get your standard, yeah, hello, you got him.
Hi, Jonathan. There's something
Oh,
I want you to
Alette, how you
know.
doing?
I'm good. So question. Remember we did that TikTok and we were recreating those Britney Spears videos?
Oh yeah, oh, that was a riot.
Yeah. So I need one of the wigs, not the baby one more time wig, the oops, I did it again wig.
Oh yeah. I know which one you mean. Okay.
Mhm. And I need you to meet me at the hospital.
Which one? Like Scarborough downtown? What? Which
You
hospital?
know, the hospital where I do the demonstrations, you know.
Oh, sick kids.
Yeah.
Are we doing a video for the kids?
No, this is gonna sound kind of strange, but I'm gonna need you to take a nap.
Okay. Alette, half the stuff what comes out of your mouth sounds kind of strange. And I mean, it's cool. I agree with it. But so what's the wig for? Am I napping in the wig?
No,
Okay.
not that one.
Oh, there's another wig?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a bit more festive.
So I gotta okay, when do you need me down there?
La 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 la. Half an hour?
Oh,
45 minutes?
45 minutes? Yeah. Okay. I mean, I don't want to get pulled over for speeding or nothing. So I can do 45 minutes. So straight up, I'm just taking a nap. Okay.
Yeah.
But fair trade. Sunday, when I'm supposed to be cleaning out the reptile house, how about I get the day off and okay, it's napping in a wig. I get the morning off and you clean the reptile house.
Okay.
Yeah, square, fair deal. Okay. So hang on. Where am I going at the sick kids?
Just meet me at the front.
Okay. I'll be 45 minutes. I'll see you in the lobby.
See you soon.
Okay. Then he hangs up. Okay. And 45 minutes later, you're waiting in the lobby with a brand new purple wig in a bag. And the elevator doors open from the parking garage. Jonathan comes out.
All righty. I'd like to introduce you to a friend of mine. Follow me.
Okay. Yep. Cool.
And I make my way up to Lee's room.
Okay. And so Lee, the door opens. It's evening. It's well past dinner time at this point. And Alette arrives with a young man in tow. He's not in his zoo uniform, so kind of jeans and a casual golf shirt type thing. He looks pretty standard and average. Average is an excellent word for Jonathan. He's average height, average brown hair color, kind of average features. He's kind of one of those people that amazingly you think you could lose in a crowd. He is wonderfully average.
Hi, Alette. Who's your friend?
Jonathan.
Kind of looking around. Okay, cool. Hey, private room. Oh well.
Mm-hmm.
Hi.
Hi.
Lee. And I introduced Jonathan as Lee.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
What about the...
And I hold up the bag.
Oh, hey, the wig you got looks. Oh.
Yeah.
And so now, are you two going out partying?
Only for a little bit.
In a manner of speaking.
So this sucks. I'm supposed to. Well, you.
Hey,
you
yours sounds way more exciting. You are a decoy. That's way more awesome. You get to pretend to be me, which is even more awesome than that.
Okay, yeah, it's kind of not really James Bond level stuff, but
kinda. This is a high security place. They are gonna check. You better either pretend to imitate my voice or pretend to be sleeping really, really convincing.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the sleeping. Okay, and he hands Alette a bag and goes, "Here's the wig you wanted."
Thank you. So do you want to take your clothes off here or do you want some privacy?
Hang on, whoa now. Yeah, I'm thinking you can just leave and I'll take my clothes off and put them under the bed, and I'm good with stuff. I don't have to be all naked, do I? I mean, they're not going to check that. I'm going to have the sheets up around my face.
Just have make sure some of your head's poking out.
Well, yeah, I got to breathe.
Okay, so I'm going to leave you to that. Looks kind of crooked there. So, Lee, you have any extra clothes?
As a matter of fact, I do.
Great.
I have the nondescript hoodie from the first night in the cubby. That just needs to be opened up. There she is. And it's got the hood just in case, so I don't look exactly like Brittany.
And so I hand her the wig. And then I just kind of look away as Jonathan gets dressed, if he is getting dressed.
Jonathan kicks his sneakers underneath the kind of the bed, kind of towards the head, and goes, "Yeah, no, they don't do under the bed here, do they? They're kind of over there." And then just crawls under the bed, pulls the blankets up, tucked right up around his neck. Goes, "There, yeah. See, I don't gotta get naked. Stupid, get naked."
You get there, Jonathan?
Yeah, okay, I'm good.
Okay, nighty night.
I'm Lee.
A bit more happier than that. It's not like a punishment or anything like that, John.
I'm napping. You're partying. Just,
Not just partying. I'm having a good time. Turns around the Britney wig. Yeah.
Yeah. Dig it in.
Hey, John. What happens when Brittany accidentally hurts herself? What did she say? Ow.
Yeah, you ladies go. You go party. I'll stay here pretending to nap.
Bye.
You owe me.
She kind of like backs out the door, just like, baby, one more time. Hood up.
So should we head on down to the gift shop to see who's there?
Yeah, for sure. Do I really look unrecognizable?
No.
Let's just not make any contact and just avoid people as much as possible.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Take the elevator downstairs, and at this time, the gift shop is closed because it's after operating hours. But by this time, everybody else should be arriving from their various directions. And once again, serendipity smiles upon all of you, and everybody comes together in the lobby. There's no one around. There's a steaming cup of coffee on the security guard station, so you can tell he was just stepped away for just a second. And there's probably a few people that are just around the corner, but you've got the lobby to yourselves for the moment.
So should we just wait for everyone else to show up?
Maybe not here. Maybe where's Lara?
Lara would have probably kind of come in through the front and probably sat down in a corner somewhere near some plants, tried to kind of keep out of the way of the security guard. But she has seen you come across the lobby and she's gotten up to meet you.
Oh, speak of the devil.
Hey, so we're still waiting for Penn and for Lily then.
Yep. Decoys in place.
Nice.
And he's alive.
Oh, good. Because when you said a body, I just kind of, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be crass. It just kind of seemed a little weird. But if you've got somebody who wants to help you, then that's good.
I mean, kind of hard to imitate a pulse when you don't have one.
And yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah, well, I mean, I may have to do something to him if he didn't cooperate. But I mean,
I don't want to know. I really don't want to know. But I trust you. I trust that you know what you're doing.
I was gonna say that's not very bluebirds, but you know what? I'm keeping it to myself.
I think at that point you'd hear like this loud rumbling outside of the hospital as a 1977 AMC Gremlin pulls up.
Penn's here.
Yeah, that's really loud.
Sure is.
Subtle.
Lara?
Yeah?
Were you whispering to those plants over there?
No.
Oh.
No. No, no, I don't do that sort of thing. I grow plants. I absolutely don't talk to plants. That's not something that I do or know how to do. And Lara's just like kind of discombobulated by this point. She's like, I'm probably just not
I mean, it's
supposed to talk.
okay. It's okay. Like I just earlier today, I was telling a hamster, about the crushes I had in high school and whatnot, and how I used to pretend that one day, I would grow up and marry Bugs Bunny. But I mean,
You too?
yeah, like
I mean,
I was
that's
just gonna
cool
say,
and
ideal
all.
partner makes a great guy, makes a great gal too.
yeah,
Mm.
I mean, I've been hearing like little whispers and stuff like that, and I don't know. I think it's the plants, but I know like I've been reading up on like on our type of like the fae, and I know there's like really tiny ones. So I'm wondering if somebody isn't playing tricks on me. I don't know if it is the flowers.
I mean, I've heard of a green thumb, like parcel leaf, green tongue.
I mean, you can learn a lot of things from the flowers.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like I'm gonna. I mean, I don't even know what like because it's not like I hear this sort of thing like when I'm walking down the street and I pass by some crabgrass or something. So,
Well,
you
where is
know,
it that you hear it the most?
in my greenhouse,
You have a greenhouse?
some yeah, there's kind of a greenhouse that I have that no one goes to.
No.
Yeah. I kind of keep it secret because I know that they'd probably make me take it down if I told anybody.
I wanted to hear talking flowers.
Well, maybe I'll take you up there someday, but we have to be really careful because I don't want them to take it down. I've kept it like quiet and nobody's caught me for so long, and I don't want to. I don't want them to catch me. I don't want them to take my greenhouse away.
Sure, Lara. That
We'll
fully
take. Well, I'll
understand.
take you up there then. We'll be really super careful.
And pokes her head through the door. Are we going?
Is Lily here?
Yeah, am I there yet? Ah, okay. Then
You tell
yeah,
us, please. We were stalling for you.
damn it.
Just like any minute now.
Yeah, no, just sure. I showed up right behind Penn. I have no idea.
just
Uh,
is
I'm-
Lily
I'm
here?
kinda-
Oh, there she is.
I'm kind of double parked outside, so we should probably
Yeah,
move on.
yeah.
It's going to be a bit of a tight fit.
It's more like that case of like person shows up and they just didn't announce themselves, but they're standing there and you didn't really register that they were standing there the whole time. That's what Lily was doing.
God damn it, Lily. Okay. Yeah, let's get this court show on the road here.
All right, on our way to see Baroness. Holy shit,
How are we
Holmschmidt.
how are we getting there?
Smith.
Holmschmidt.
I mean, I've got
Smith.
I've
Yes.
got one of my dad's
Close.
cars.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you can find parking.
I mean,
Uh
it's court. I'm sure something's going to pop up.
Well, yeah. And I mean, it's built on top of a parking lot, so maybe by now there won't be any cars under there anymore. But, the club kids and stuff like that, they like to go and park there. All right, let's go.
Okay.
alrighty.
Penn is going to hop in the driver's seat, and everyone will squish into the 77 AMC Gremlin.
It's not a long drive, fortunately.
Can I? The car,
Yeah.
the roof of the car is covered in poppies.
And what?
Oh,
Like, yeah, in like the little Remembrance Day poppies. Someone
Oh,
has taken them and meticulously placed all of them through the roof.
Oh wow.
As I see that, I kind of nudge Lara. What are they saying?
They're
think those are fake
they're
ones.
plastic, yeah.
Yeah, they're plastic. I don't think they can talk to me.
My dad's decorated the car, sorry.
That's okay.
So you
Fine.
can't talk to them.
I don't know. Hey. Hey, can you hear him? Oh, I feel stupid. Okay, no, never mind. I'm not going to even try.
Okay, fortunately, it's not a long drive from Sick Kids Hospital down to the Cloud Garden on Richmond Street. It's for those who are familiar with Toronto, it's just off Yonge Street. Cloud Garden is one of my favorite little strange places. It is surrounded by downtown Toronto and everything that downtown Toronto evokes when people think about it in their imaginations, which is huge, tall buildings that reach up and claw at the sky, lots of glass, lots of steel, a little bit of Victorian stone from the buildings that have been there for a while. It's right behind the Hudson's Bay Company store, which started, if I remember right, as a Sears way back when, and is a big old stone structure that is actually rather gorgeous looking. And it is in the middle of all this is this interesting little park, which is half cement, but half grass. Has a few little kind of art structure things going on. It has a 7-level waterfall with walkways that kind of go up and across and around and through and under and behind and back out front. And then there is a large glass frontage, 2 stories tall, which is often, no matter the weather, covered with condensation and fogged over. So you can just see the greenery in the greenhouse inside of it. And even when it is 70% humidity and broiling hot outside, it is still heavy and damp on the inside because the plants that they've got there tend to be all tropical flavors and love the feeling of an incoming impending rainstorm. So it always feels like you're just on the edge of a good cloudburst in there. However, as I found out just recently, doing my own research, 2 years ago, they closed Cloud Gardens because they are building beside it in one of the areas, and they're putting up a new tower of glass and steel and structure and all the fun stuff. So there are now gates and construction equipment and all sorts of stuff all around it. But as closed as it is, the waterfall is still running, and you can see the glass, and it is still fogged with condensation. And so the plants are still being taken care of inside. It's just currently unavailable to the public, making this perhaps a really good place to hold a court. So you folk park downstairs underneath the bay pretty much, because that's where the parking is meant for more than anything. And you come up top and you come up through the bay because that's the easiest way to access it from the parking. And you're now across the street from what looked like at one time it would be a beautiful, relaxing place to escape the city, right in the heart of the city and find a little bit of greenery. And now it's all kinds of construction and fencing and gating and big yellow signs that say hard hats and boots must be worn here. And what are you doing?
Well, did we park already?
Yes.
Okay, so
Taking off the Britney Spears wig. Ugh, much better.
I was gonna say blonde really isn't your color.
I know, right? You have the coloring for a brunette, at least.
Yeah. You are definitely more of a jewel tone.
Something to take note of. If you happen to recall your true name, do not mention it here.
Huh?
Oh,
okay.
yes, she's right.
True.
Okay.
True name?
What's the true name?
Exactly.
The thing Lara said it once of herself.
Oh, what my landlady said. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I
don't
never
don't
called
tell
it-
anybody that
mention-
one.
Don't tell
Oh.
anybody that one.
Oh, okay.
We were in a
yeah.
safe space. It was okay, but
Never.
if you know it,
Okay.
don't reveal it.
Okay.
Just
What
give
happens?
them your nickname.
Is it like that Rumpelstiltskin thing?
Kinda, yeah, a little bit. Fairy tales
Oh.
are generally based a little bit in truth. Occasionally, sometimes the humans get it right. Not often, though.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
I'm going to be Tiffany.
That works. I mean, I just go by Pen.
I guess Lee works for me.
And I'm
Lily
just
is
Lara.
terribly generic.
Thanks.
No,
Thanks.
Lily is generic. I wasn't saying
Oh,
your name.
Sorry. Got cut off.
No.
Okay. And while you're watching, a short, stout figure, he looks to be about, I don't know, 5'6", 5'7", a portly sort, black pants, kind of a sky blue short sleeve shirt, keys hanging from the belt, the patches that say, New Toronto Security, the black tie. And he's whistling as he walks around the corner. He's flipping the key ring around his fingers, and he takes about 5-6 steps, and the key ring goes, nah, and he kind of goes, and he walks and he bends over to pick the key ring up, and he hits his head against the fence and kind of stops back and looks at the key ring and scowls at it, kind of approaches it carefully and leans down and picks it up, goes to spin it again, and then thinks, and puts it back on his belt slowly. And then he kind of just walks along in front of the gate that leads into the area where the construction is going on, right in front of Cloud Gardens.
I think that's about the perfect time. Pen is going to sort of toddle in just as the security guard passes by and just walks in. Almost
Okay.
as though it was meant to be serendipitously.
There is no inn. There is a fence, and the
A
gate
fence?
is closed.
Okay.
It's one of those big gates that rolls out of the way so you can drive trucks in and out, and is currently rolled into the way.
Is there like a lock or something that's on it?
Nice big chain with a big padlock.
Hey, Lara, we could really use those keys.
But I don't know if I can do it if I want to do it. I mean, I can try. I guess Lara's gonna go over to that security guard and start talking to him.
Okay. As you approach him, he kind of reaches the corner of the lot, turns around, sees you, and stops and goes, "Well, hello. It's a wonderful
Hey.
night tonight, isn't it?"
It is a wonderful night. I think I'm a little lost. I thought that there was supposed to be like a big garden here, like a big park.
Oh, there is. It's just inside. But, the construction and everything. So what can you do?
Oh,
Though,
Okay.
I might know something's going on tonight. If you know something's going on tonight.
what do you think's going on tonight?
Oh, I see the game you're playing. You want to know if I know that you know. I know what you know.
I mean,
Wait. Yes, I got that right.
Alistair Donut
Uh,
says he's one of us.
and he kind of shouts, Bud, Bud, Bud. And on the other side of the gate, kind of from a little kind of shack kind of area, like one of those half trailer sorts of things, door opens, and this tall, slender guy comes out, dressed much the same, black pants, black shoes, key ring, security guards, shirt, tie, and everything. The shorter one looks kind of a little rumpled and frumpy. This guy looks fairly sharp and well put together. Short hair, looks to be in his, 30s, 40s, somewhere in there. And he's like, "What do you want, Lou? What's up?" He's like, "Bud, I got it right. I know what they know I had it right." And he's like, "Yeah. Oh, okay, Lou. Sure."
Pen's going to totter up at this point next to Lara.
Yeah, Lee's also gonna just
I
follow up.
mean, we know you know what we know. I know you do know, but do you know what I know you know?
"Oh, I see what you're doing. And now you're trying to confuse me. And you know what? I'm going to tell you, that works a right charm.
Usually does.
So you're here for the do, right?"
Yep.
Of course.
Yeah.
The
I
Mountain Dew.
guess.
We
No, not that do.
Oh,
The do
We
The
We
who
can
do
ado.
that you do. Oh no.
that we do.
the ado. There we go.
Yeah, the ado. The much ado.
that do.
Not
This
about
do?
nothing though.
Might
Mhm.
be this do. Could
This
be.
do. Okay.
Pretty sure it's this do.
Because if you're here for that do, then okay. Now, there was a password. There was
Uh,
Well, how
Bud!
would
Bud,
How-
is
how-
the password still the Queen's Gambit? And Bud just goes,
so the Queen's Gambit?
and he goes, "Oh, you know it. Okay."
Sure do.
And he kind of heads towards where the lock is. And the taller, slender one is like, "Oh, I get a headache. You're giving me a headache, Lou." Okay. And he heads towards the same place. So Lou fumbles with the keys and tries the first key and wiggles it in the lock, and then that doesn't work. And he drops them and he picks them up again and he tries another key. And this one snaps open. And he goes, "Okay, so come in."
Thank you.
And rolls the gate just enough so that people can walk past. Yeah, but 5-6 feet. Not huge. You don't need a ton of space. None of you are a dump truck.
thanks, Lou.
So, and he rolls it back with him on the other side and reaches through and fumbles and plays with it. And the other gentleman, the tall, slender gentleman, looks and goes, "So 5 of you, huh?"
Yeah,
Yep.
we're new.
New to the city or new to
Each other.
Just new.
just new?
Mhm.
Okay, news not a bad thing. Everybody's new at some point. Experience something that comes with time. And there's finally the clack of the padlock
sometimes
being
old
shut
too.
again.
A little bit.
And Bud goes, "I can understand that. Sometimes I feel a little old myself."
Well, sometimes what's old is new and what's new is old again.
That stuff might work on Lou, but
I
You know.
see. You're the straight man of the two of you. You two need each other.
one could say that. Yes, straight. Maybe a
no,
little.
one's a straight man and the other one's
maybe a
got the
little-
punchlines.
Maybe a little bent. And then
Some-
the short dumpy one kind of turns around and goes, "Okay, so yeah, you're all. I haven't
New?
seen. I
All what?
haven't seen a couple of you types before."
Hey,
And
what do you mean by that?
Women?
The tall one goes, "Okay, Lou, they come in a broad range." And Lou goes, "Oh, you mean like that gnome?" And Bud goes, yes, exactly, like that gnome. And Lou goes, the one we met from Alaska.
Was that Norm?
And Bud goes, yes, from Alaska, from Juneau. And Lou goes, of course, from Juneau. What, you think I was going to make some joke about the gnome from Nome on the range? Come on.
You know when you know you're in the
And
right
Bud
place?
goes, you almost. Okay, so I think you need to let these ones in. I don't think standing around us for a long time is going to be very healthy for them. They're too new.
No, we definitely need to go announce ourselves to the do inside.
And Lou goes, okay. If you would like to come with me, please, range. And he leads you up one of the walkways to the second level, and then kind of around and up a little bit of stairs to one of the glass doors, and opens the door. No locks, no strangeness, no anything. And you can just smell the greenery that comes out of it. The place, from looking from the outside, it's not huge. It's 2 stories tall. It's got an internal staircase as well. It's maybe, I don't know, about 20 feet deep tops. It's 40 or 60 feet long, but it doesn't go very deep. However, the illusion is there because the plants are just, it is a riot of greenery. There is nothing low, it's all high, there's vines everywhere. It's like stepping into a small jungle. There is a cement pathway, but other than that, it is just green and green and green. There are office buildings all around it. So you're expecting about, 20 feet by 40 or 60. So you got to wonder to yourself for a moment where you're going to fit more than about 6 or 8 people in here, but you can't hear any people. So he says, okay, if you be so kind as to follow me, please. And the tall, slender one stands by the door, and he says, right, Lou, I'll be here. You come on back after you drop them off. Hand them off to the J-Man or, the younger, or I don't know, someone. And the short, stocky one goes, okay, Bud, I'll be back in 3 shakes. And Bud goes, I'll be counting. And he turns around and he leads you kind of around the corner, around this large amount of, you can see the path goes around, and then it kind of goes down on a slant. And he leads you around another corner, and it goes down on a slant. And there's another corner, and it goes down on a slant. And there's 3 or 4 more of these, and you're pretty sure at this point you're lower than ground level somewhere, somehow, some way. And now you start to hear the sounds of discussion, that quiet little murmur that you hear from like 2 or 3 rooms away. And he leads you around the 6th or 7th, you're not quite sure. And in front of you, everything opens up into this wide space. And it's got that feel to it, that saturated color look, that scent, that sound that you got from the freehold, but a little differently, kind of. And what it looks like a huge indoor garden. The ceiling's got to be 15, 20 foot up, and it is definitely a cement ceiling. But the rest of it is grass and growing plants and hedges. And so you can kind of see over to the right, a group of 3 or 4 definite she standing, talking, pointed ears galore, each and every one of them, dressed very finely. A lot of tight hose and doublet type looks. Over to the left, you can see 2, one that looks like a satyr with horns and furry legs, plucking at some kind of a stringed instrument, while he's talking with a short little kind of roundish fellow, bogan type looking sort of thing. And then it kind of spreads out from there, and there are nooks and crannies and places that you can hear sounds from. And as you're standing there, he kind of stops and dithers for a moment. And out of one of these openings comes a fairly 6-foot tall gentleman, kind of dark curly hair, thinning a little bit at the top and the sides, black slacks, a fairly nice gleaming white shirt, a leather jacket that just, it says biker jacket without being an obvious biker jacket. He's got a cigarette kind of stuck in the corner of one mouth, and he comes around and he's looking at the pair with the setter and the stringed instrument, and then kind of stands and sees a short little dumpy security guard and you 5, and kind of goes, huh. And you can just kind of see that eyebrow going up on that look. And he kind of tucks his hands in his pockets and strolls up and says, what do you got for me, Lou? And the short dumpy guy goes, these are new. I just found them. They were outside and they need to be inside. So I'm handing them off and I'm going back outside to hang with Bud. And the other guy looks very, on second glance, you can kind of see ears like Alette's got ears, and all of you are in your fey mean again as soon as you walked into kind of around that last corner. He's got ears like Alette's got ears, but they're a little further back, they're a little pointier, and they're a little gray. And he's kind of got sharp features. So he kind of grins with a mouthful of teeth and goes, I'll take him from here. Hi, I'm the J-Man. May I have your names?
Lee.
I'd like to keep my name for myself. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're a smart one. I like you. New, huh? Maybe not.
New but old. But old than
Okay.
new.
Okay.
Yeah, my name's mine.
You might know a few tricks. Okay. Well, it's always worth asking because you never know who's going to do that. But thank you. What may we call you while you are here?
You may call me Pen.
You may call me Lara.
You may call me Lily.
You may call me Lee.
You may call me Alette.
Well, thank you. Just so you know, from here on out, any names offered come with no obligations or requirements, and any names accepted are the same way. Also, please partake of the Baroness's largesse. Any food or drink that you partake comes with no connections, ties, or bindings. Anything that you offer is of your own free will, unless, of course, a contract or oath is made between the parties who are interested. Blah, blah, blah. Sign here on the dotted line. You know the spiel. And if you're new and don't know the spiel, that's the spiel.
Okay.
So you're new. Oh, that means you're going to want to meet the Baroness, aren't you?
Think
That's what
that
we're
would
here
be
for.
a good
Well,
first
I
step.
mean, if she wants to meet us.
Well, yeah, if
She
you're
might be
new,
busy.
she's probably going to want to meet you guys. Now, where did 5 and 1 go? Did you all just happen to show up all at the same time?
Oh, we showed up together.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Y'all live in town?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We live
Okay.
in a town.
Okay. That's good to know. I don't mind mysterious. We always find out what's going on in the end anyway, so I can smell it. And as he's talking, he's leading you on. You know, you get around one corner, and there are 2 very short, very animalistic. You know, they look to be young, 13, 14, and they're pukas, but they are definitely next to full animal form at this point. You know, there's a ferret and what looks like an orange tabby cat, and they just giggling, they go running past you, you know, duck past your knees. Looks like they're playing tag or chase or something as they go tearing around another corner. You know, he takes you through an area where there's a card table set up. There's 3 or 4 A satyr is sitting dealing out cards. It looks like a poker game in process, with a mess of gleaming bits of stone and leaves and interesting bits of jewelry and gems on the table instead of the usual poker chips. A handful of different kith, a she, a pair of bogans, something really freaking big that looks like it's carved out of rock. Takes you around another corner, and there's a nice little kind of area, a dead end area, kind of a cul-de-sac sort of thing, with a nice little decorative fountain in it that's tinkling away. And there are two people there. There is one who's extremely tall. She looks to be about 6'2", 6'3". She looks movie star solid. Pick any of the latest female-led spy films, and she's got that look to her. She's kind of, everybody else you've seen in their voila has been kind of fancy cloth and silks and satins and furs and leathers and nice fabric. She's kind of in a lot of armor. It's nicely cared for, burnished mix of chain and plate. Her skin's got a blue cast to it, and she's got a pair of horns coming out of her forehead, and she's got a large sword strapped to her back. She's talking to a slender she, white hair, platinum blonde hair, wearing what you would call possibly TV medieval court gown type thing. It's this flamboyant confection of fabrics that seems to just kind of float around her as much as anything else. And J-Man, stops, puts out one cigarette in a potted plant, pulls another cigarette out of a pack, pulls the pack out of his pocket, puts it here, and he does this, and then that, and there's this little flame on top of his thumb, and he puffs and gets the cigarette going, and then does that, and the little flame disperses. And he strolls up and he stops in front of the pair and he bows and he goes, "Baroness, your ladyship, there are 5 new kith to present to you. They may be called, if it is your pleasure, your graces, Pen, Lily,
Ow.
Alette, Lara, and Lee." And then he turns and says, "I will present to you her honorship, the Baroness Dana Holschmidt, and her knight, Lady Sigrun the Winter's Hand." And he bows and steps away, and the two kind of turn towards you and they look at you expectantly.
Lee's gonna awkwardly, slowly curtsy and look to everyone else, or bow.
Yeah.
As Penn is familiar with the etiquette in the courts, Penn is going to do the deep presenting bow.
Lee's gonna try and match that.
And Alette, she does your Baroness.
Okay, everyone give me a perception plus etiquette roll, difficulty of 8.
I have 3 successes.
2.
2.
Just 1 for me.
5.
Dang.
Okay.
They are my corner stats. And I rolled a couple times.
Nicely done. Okay, now, so you've got this person in armor and this person in a flowing gown. They've been introduced to you as the Baroness and her Lady Knight.
Mhm.
Now, Pen, you don't get to answer this at the moment. The other 4 of you, and I know which way you're going to go because I've done the setup. Which one is the lady and which one is the knight?
I don't get to answer. They do. Okay.
And see, I can see you're all thinking about it now. Okay, Was the storyteller an evil son of a bitch, or was he not? And yes, the storyteller was an evil son of a bitch. Everyone who got less than 4 bowed towards the lady in the flowing gown. It is a she. The expectation is they, of course, are nobility. And she's in the gown. The other one is wearing the armor. When people say knight, they think armor. Penn is the only one who bows towards the one in the armor.
See, I was already making that assumption, but that was out of before we had to roll dice.
You're an evil son of a bitch.
Yes, slightly.
I'm gonna just stay here right now. Okay.
So Penn bows one way, and the other 4 of you kind of curtsy slightly the other way, just enough to make it obvious. And the she slaps the back of her hand into the armored chest of the troll, and there's a clang, and she goes, 4 out of 5 this time. You owe me your worship. And the troll looks down and goes, you know, if I didn't like you so much, I might just throw you in the fountain. But you're right, 4 out of 5. It's not 5 out of 5. Yeah, okay, I'll owe you an extra memory this time. And
at this, Lee kind of perks up.
so she, the one in the armor, bows and says, yes, I am the Baroness Dana. Welcome to my court tonight. It is our pleasure to have you here. You are well met. I would take it that our Major Domo J-Man made sure that you were knowledgeable of what is and is not.
The rules were made clear, yes.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes, Baroness.
Yes.
Excellent. That is fantastic to hear. I shan't remove his head yet again tonight.
Again.
And the she in the dress kind of chuckles and goes, you always find reasons not to remove his head. And the troll looks down and says, well, his head does look best on his shoulders. Though there are days, I think it would do well decorating my footstool. And what brings the 5 of you to my court this evening?
Well,
And just sort of looks. We are the newest Motley from the Rookery.
Oh, the Rookery has a Motley. And the she goes, oh, is it that year?
It is that year.
I lose count. And the Baroness kind of leans down and goes, no, you don't. You have a fantastic brain for the math stuff. You don't ever lose count. You're being facetious. And looks up and says, excellent. So you are the latest students of the 3 sisters, so to speak.
yes.
So the maiden, the mother, and just before she says it, she elbows her, and there's a clang. She goes, you know, she doesn't like that. And I swear she can hear you say it anywhere in this damn city. And the troll kind of rubs the base of one horn and goes, yeah, you're probably right.
The elder, I think she prefers.
She's a creepy, weird one, she is. Yes.
Careful.
Okay. So yes, the maiden, the mother, and the other one.
The elder.
Yes.
I think she got very cross with me when I tried. Very
Yes.
cross.
So yes, so you 5 are 5. Last time was 6.
They do keep mentioning that.
That is something they said before.
Well, that's interesting. I wonder where that's going to go. That's going to be all sorts of, oh yeah, that'll get the tongues wagging. Interesting, indeed. Okay. And the she goes, I wonder if the 6 is a revolving door. We had that once, from what I understand. And the troll was like, I don't know. I don't go back that far. So, excellent. And your purpose in the city is, do you have it yet? Do you have one? You're new.
I think
You're
we're
just
looking
learning
for it.
things.
We haven't ascertained it yet, no.
Wonderful. We will.
But we're leaning towards bluebirds.
Okay. And what does a motley of bluebirds do?
inspire happiness.
That's a thought.
Make the world a better place.
That is a definite thought, and that one we definitely approve of. We will. I will be sitting down with the Duke down in Niagara sometime in the next couple of weeks. And she goes, "Oh, we're going to Niagara again? I'm not a big fan of Niagara." The troll's like, "Yeah, I know, but that's where his summer place is. So that's where we get to go until he comes back here for the winter." And then she's like, Niagara is so full of fake glamour. It's a tourist trap. That's all it is. It's like eating candy. 10 minutes later, it's gone again. Troll's like, "Yeah, I know, but..." So we will talk with the Duke, and we will ascertain if there is something that we would like the Motley to take care of for us. And it will be a proper and balanced contract. You will be paid for services rendered as is appropriate and as is proper, if that is acceptable to the five of you.
Of course, we would have to review the contract before we were to swear any oaths.
Oh, naturally. We're not going to ask you just to jump in sight unseen. If we bring you a problem that we think your talents can address, we're going to want to make sure that you are comfortable in dealing with that problem. And yes, it will be a thing of discussion. It will not be a thing of insistence and demand.
As is proper.
Yes. Until that time, unless you have any questions for us, you can enjoy our hospitality. Explore the gardens. There is, if you go down and take 2 lefts and a right, there is a buffet laid out. Again, anything that you would like, feel free to partake. There is no debt owed or considered.
Most gracious.
Thank you, Baroness.
Yes, very kind.
You're very welcome. Enjoy, and I look forward to seeing you at our next court as well.
As the rest of them sort of peter off, Lee's gonna hang back a bit and sort of like quietly just like, "Baroness, I have a question, if I may."
Oh, always, please.
I am just wondering, I couldn't help it over here. You said you owed a memory to your comrade?
To my knight, yes.
To your knight, yes. My apologies. Are those just freely given and used like currency around here?
Not exactly, no. It is a thing that can be done, but only because she and I are very close.
So are they her memories?
Oh, no. I will be giving her a memory that I have in my keeping.
That is all, Baroness. Just curious. Thank you.
You are very welcome.
She bows maybe a couple more times than necessary and kind of hurries off to the rest of the group.
Okay. Where's the group going? Is the group staying together? Are you going to poke around? Yep. What are we doing?
Alette is kind of looking around, checking out her surroundings. Is there any sort of body of water nearby?
Not really, no. There
was a fountain.
There's again, but it's not a big fountain.
So there's no lake or pond or anything nearby?
No, the space isn't big enough for that.
I see what you're trying to do here, Alette.
It's kind of like an indoor curated garden type space, like an arboretum.
Yeah, like an arboretum. I mean, there might be a little bit of water here and there, the odd little fountain, but even the fountains are maybe 8-10 feet across. They are more decorative than anything else.
And act
You know.
more as a standing water as opposed to like ocean or running
Yeah.
water is
Yeah.
required.
Yeah.
Just be getting wet at this point.
Yes. Yeah. And to get her fully wet would take some work.
I think Lara's gonna lean over to Penn and whisper, she said payment. I didn't know there was, am I gonna be able to pay off my student loans?
It's not that kind of payment. Like that's more like the mundane style thing.
Oh.
Payment here is a little bit more fidgety. It's favors. Sometimes it's glamour. Sometimes, you know, those little artifacts that our friend has that makes it so that she can remember what's happening.
Oh, those. Okay.
So things like that.
Oh,
little tokens
interesting.
that can help suffuse a little bit of the glamour that helps keep us around. Because, you know, we kind of need it. And if we don't have it, then things get real boring. And if things get real boring, then, but we can't really go too far in the other direction, because if things go too far in the other direction, then it's really hard to be around as long as I have.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know any of this stuff, but it seems like it's really troubling for you.
It is. But you know what? You find fun where you can. And then you make sure you walk that line. I got very close once, and that was not fun. That was quite scary.
Was it hard to get out of that space?
Well, one side it's kind of like a pit that you slump into, and then when you slump into it, it's really hard to crawl out of. And the other, it's almost like you're flying too close to the sun, and then it kind of burns. Best not to.
Oh, okay. I guess I'm gonna have to learn all of this.
It'll take some time, but you'll figure it out.
Okay.
As you're strolling along, a pair of trolls walk past, male and female, again, both very tall, very muscular, both in kind of leather jerkin, leather pants, leather boots. You know, one has an absolutely huge axe suspended on the hip. The other one doesn't seem to be armed at all. And they kind of stroll past, chatting about stuff. Heading towards the buffet, or
I think Penn is going to go towards the buffet for some snacks.
I vote snacks.
Snacks.
Yeah.
The buffet is the standard church basement wooden table with the folding metal legs. They somehow look out of place here, but yet there they are. And there are 3 of them, and they are laden with food and drink. There is everything from cold cuts and cheeses and fruit like grapes and apple slices and oranges, to cakes and sugary bits, and there's an obvious punch bowl. There are several quite obviously purchased at Loblaws, President's Choice, ginger ale, and cola, both regular and diet.
They're like plates and such, or are we just
There are paper plates. There are, it looks like this strange little picnic dumped in the middle of a fairy garden.
I'm gonna
see. You can tell it's okay because it's really mundane. Penn's making a beeline for the deviled eggs.
I was kind of expecting that a baroness would have some sort of like, I don't know, like lobster or like some sort of weird.
See, when it's mystical, then you got to worry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if it looks too good, it is too good.
If it looks too good to be true, it definitely is.
If it doesn't have strings attached, it's got strings attached.
Those deviled eggs are indeed dusted with that little bit of red paprika.
Yeah.
I'm going for the deviled eggs too.
Okay. As the 5 of you are clustering around and you can tell that the food has been nibbled at. You know, the plate of eggs is missing about 1/3 of them. The cold cuts, you know, it's obvious no one's at the buffet at the moment, but the buffet has been enjoyed. And as you're working at the buffet, from around the corner, J-Man walks around the corner, cigarette still dangling between his lips in one corner. And with him is a slender gentleman, pointed ears, pointed nose, very good looking, snug black, kind of shimmery, satiny tunic kind of thing, comes down to mid-thigh. He's got black tights on and black knee-high boots. Everything is trimmed in kind of a light tan brown. So he's got a nice mix of this light tan and this deep black that goes together. Looks like he's a fairly well-to-do sort. And he claps J-Man on the shoulder and nods to him. And you can hear him say, "My thanks to you." And he heads quite focused on the five of you and strolls forward with obvious intent. And when he's about 4 or 5 feet away, he kind of looks around me, as if to make sure that, the audience is there and no one else is watching. And he says, "You may call me Sir Thorn of the Beaches. I am speaking with the new Motley of the Rookery."
You are.
The Bluebirds, yes.
The Bluebirds.
The Bluebirds. I see. An interesting choice. I would have cause to beg of you a favor, or perhaps to put it properly, a reason to hire you if you would hear my plea.
No.
Lee's just gonna eyeball
I-
everybody else.
I would hear it, but not necessarily accept your favor.
That is all I can ask. My son has not reached full chrysalis. He bobs in and out, more out than in, as is with some of us. Recently, he lost a family heirloom. It is a sword. It is a very important sword. It was entrusted to him in hopes that it would help his chrysalis form fully. Unfortunately, as I said, it was lost, possibly taken. I do not know. I can tell you roughly where it was last seen. His steed went with it. If you would be able to obtain this for me and bring it back, it would, one, avoid a lot of embarrassment upon my house, which would be hugely appreciated. And my house is not a poor one. I could offer a fair weight of dross and perhaps an item in exchange for taking this quest.
Is the steed a horse or something else?
Here it would be a horse. Out there, it would be a bicycle.
So a bicycle, and upon which form does the sword take?
In the mundane and banal world, the sword would appear as a bicycle air pump for the tires, strapped beneath the frame. And while the steed is, the return of the steed would be wonderful. It is truly the sword that is the most important thing. It is a family heirloom, and it has been passed down from father to son for generations before the Sundering even happened.
Does this person seem to be on the up and up so far as the request goes?
Okay, give me a moment here. Just to
Do I
check
feel as
something.
though I am being spun a tale?
What she said.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Run me through where you have insight again.
Under perception, I have insightful.
Oh,
and under
there we
wits, I have
go.
instinctive.
Okay.
If that
Kenning,
helps.
kenning plus either perception or whichever you like, they're the same. And any 10s you'll double up. because both insightful and instinctive would both apply. As a matter of fact, I'll allow you to double 9s and 10s because you've got both of those specialties working for you.
Okay.
I get it. Pen's a lie detector.
And what is the?
Can be. You're new. It's a she. I'm thinking 7.
7? Okay.
7.
Lucky 7s. Let's find out. That's good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You said double 9s and 10s, so I've
Yes.
got 3 9s and an 8.
Dang. He seems to be on the up and up. Very much so. He seems to be extremely worried, both about the sword and about something you can't quite tell. It might be about being overheard because, again, embarrassment. So he is a little jittery and jumpy, but he's a she, so he doesn't show it, not for a moment. But you can kind of tell that he's investing a lot in just approaching you folk.
Well, I suppose this might fall under the purview of the Bluebirds, as this is not only doing good for someone in need, it is also returning hope to someone who seems to have lost it. But I would defer to the group before accepting such a deal.
Do you require that I step aside while you discuss among yourselves?
A moment, I think.
A moment, please. Yes.
I most certainly can. And if you accept, we can dicker on price then. Thank you very much. And he bows very deeply. And says, and kind of turns to the table, grabs a plate, tosses a couple things on the plate, making sure he gets 1 or 2 deviled eggs, and goes, and now I have a reason to be here. I will be just around the corner.
Thank you.
And he strolls around the corner with his food.
All right, what do we think?
So, can we trust him?
He's telling the truth. The sword does belong to him. I think he's a little bit embarrassed that it got lost, or something else. There's something he's hiding. Not quite sure what it is yet. For the record, the reason Penn does the insightful and the instinctive is because Penn's trying to search out a good story.
Well, I'm just wondering what all this sword does besides just sort of inspiring his son's chrysalis, and because he's saying, oh well, the steed is important, but the sword is definitely important.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the sword he did say is a family heirloom.
Yeah, it's just that things have a tendency to do more than one thing, if that makes any sense.
Do you think it's something bad? Do you think it's something that can hurt someone? Other than, it's a sword, so it's a
Did I get that sense at all? No, I don't think so. I don't think it's it for anything really other than helping out his son.
So nothing like it's gonna take down, the biggest, baddest beast in the entire planet or something like that because it's this special sword, or
I don't think it's the one you pull from the stone. No.
Oh, okay.
Well, then I think I'm inclined to agree with seeing if we can find this bicycle and air pump.
And bikes get stolen all the time in Toronto.
Yeah.
So how hard could it be?
Well, they get stolen all the time in Toronto, and then they wind up in bad places where people take them apart. And
fair point.
Or gone completely.
Or pitched in the lake.
He did say he know where it last was. We can try and investigate at the very least. For the record, I'm I'm okay with doing this, only if the rest of us are.
And I mean, it's not like we really have anything better to do, except it might be a little bit difficult because that means we have to do a whole nother decoy if Lee would like to join us on
Yeah,
such a
that's
quest.
true.
When are you being discharged anyway?
Yeah.
Would that have come across in any discussion that I can recall, Cliff?
No indications that it will be happening anytime soon. No.
Dang it.
There's really no indication of
Oh.
happening soon, unfortunately.
Don't worry about that.
I mean, we can always. What? How did you get out anyways? Nobody bothered to tell me. There was a wig.
I
Yeah,
mean,
there
I
was
was
a
wearing a
wig.
wig. There were two wigs, technically. And
Yeah, but
another
what else?
individual.
Like who's
And a friend of Alette's. So there's a pulse.
Well, that's good. I
They
was
won't-
really worried for a second that
they
Alec might
won't
try
check
and murder
if-
someone.
They won't check if I'm asleep. I'm asleep.
They won't check if the person who's pretending to be you is asleep.
He's fine. We're fine. Alette
Okay.
fixed up the soda she was drinking. So,
It's
Motley,
like
to adventure?
so?
Why not?
Sure, I'm up for an
to
adventure.
adventure.
To adventure.
Adventure.
Question:
now,
Can I keep the bikes that we find that aren't the bike that we need?
I mean, why not?
All of them?
Mm. Oh, you're doing that thing again.
No.
Which thing?
Or you want to keep things that aren't necessarily yours.
Oh, right.
And
Yeah,
those
no.
plastic spoons that are in your pocket aren't going to do you any good.
Lara just turns around. She's like, "Thank you," and she pulls them out and like she puts them over on the table, like really stealthily, kind of.
I know they look like they're metal, but they're not. They're just plastic.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. You're fine.
They didn't see us, did they?
Nah.
Nah.
Okay.
She don't steal.
It's okay. Those are also freely given, so it's fine. They're gonna go in the trash anyways.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's only plastic spoons. I guess that's better than stealing charcoal and keys. Oh gosh, I'm so embarrassed.
Let's give Laura a little pet on the cheek. You're fine. It'll be okay. You'll get there.
Oh.
We got you. We got you.
Okay.
So,
So
yes,
to
But-
adventure.
But
Good
so
adventure?
we agreed we want to
Payment.
do the thing, but yeah, that
Amen. That's the other thing. That was the second item that we needed to discuss. Trinkets and baubles are good. Favors are better.
I mean, memories would be awesome. Personally speaking, or at
Oh.
least figuring out
well,
mine.
yours.
If there's a
Yeah.
way.
We want yours. We don't want other people's.
I want mine specifically. So
Yeah.
I figure favors to figuring out
Who
who might have them.
I think that actually might be a better play instead of items are good. Yes, payment, that's good for payment, but favors and information I think would probably serve us better.
Yes, I like information.
Es-
Yes. I think so too.
Are we in agreement then?
Yes.
I'm gonna help
Okay.
the guy for
Alette?
information.
Yes. Yes. We are good. Okay.
to adventure?
Who wants to go poke the guy around the corner?
We need
Oh.
to tell the guy. We need to talk.
And
to
I'll
the
just
guy.
totter around the corner.
And he's standing about 4 or 5 feet away, chatting with a bogan, and
I'll
nibbling on things off his plate. And he goes,
Make eye contact and give like a little wave.
hands the plate to the bogan. And there's a little bit of chatter back and forth. And then he turns and he strolls and he follows you back around the corner and says, and so what say you? Bluebirds, correct? It was bluebirds?
Bluebirds,
Yes.
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 We are in terms of payment for such a task, while what you offer is good information and perhaps even a favor, would potentially serve us a little bit better in our endeavors before we were to agree.
What kind of information would you be looking for?
Information on a friend's lost memories.
Oh.
And where one might acquire or find them.
That would take a little bit of asking about, but I am sure that I could find out at least the first step on the journey, if not the third. And then a favor. In the balance, yes, I could see my family, my household extending a quiet favor. Again, we would not want this to be made public if at all
Of course
possible.
not.
So would you
Favors are
prefer,
favors.
yes, would you prefer oath or contract?
A contract would be preferable.
A contract, okay. You are good waiting here. I will go and I will go and get the Chamberlain. He has the ability to seal a contract for us. Okay, and he disappears. Takes about 10, 15 minutes, and he comes back around the corner with a bogan. Short, think kind of Danny DeVito, but with more hair, but not on his head. You know, short, stocky. He's got that kind of nose, that kind of face, that kind of extremely balding, except from here down, it's the what's the guy's name? Benjamin Franklin kind of look. From here down, it's in a ponytail. It's a ponytail that can go all the way. Yes, it goes all the way down to the belt in the back. It's a long one. It is.
Ain't just a skull. It's an epic skullet.
Yes. No, he doesn't have the beard and mustache, but he's got a serious case of 5 o'clock shadow. Serious case. And he's following along, going, right. Okay, Thorny, this had better be worth my time. And she goes, we would like you to oversee a contract. And he goes, oh, contract, huh? Okay, so I get my share, right? I get my cut. If I'm overseeing a contract, and Thorne says, yes, I will see to your cut. You shall get as you normally do. And the bogan goes, right then. So you and these guys. Who are these guys?
Bluebirds.
Bluebirds. Bluebirds. Okay. Well, Bluebirds, I'm Carl, the younger. Pray you don't meet Carl, the older. He's a bitch. I'm your nice guy. So you got a contract. So what's your side of the contract?
Goods and services rendered for our friend Thorny here.
Yeah. For what?
For a favor and information.
Yeah, I see. Okay, Thorny, what are you getting out of this? And she goes, they are going to undertake the quest to find a missing family heirloom and possibly the steed that it is owned. And the bogan goes, ha! Your kid lost it, did he? And the she-knight goes, and you know, by terms of contract, you are not allowed to speak about it now or ever. And the bogan's like, yeah, it's still worth it. I'll know. You old bastard. Okay, we can do this. So, contract signed, sealed, delivered. It's witnessed. You're all good. If anyone breaks the contract, the pain you will feel will be the kind of stuff that you can't even imagine feeling. We got ourselves, we're all clear on this. And Sir Thorne goes, yes, I fully understand and accept the terms of the contract. And they look at you.
We fully
Five.
understand and accept the terms of the contract.
Yes.
And the Carl the Younger does this strange little jig and kind of bounces around and then snaps his up in the air, snaps his heels together. When he comes down, there's a thump that you can almost hear an echo of and you can feel this kind of shiver in the air. And he goes, okay, contract's done, signed, sealed, delivered. Right. Now, if you're done with me, it's almost the end of the night. I got to go clean up crap, because that's what the Chamberlain does for the Baroness, clean up crap.
Thank you, Chamberlain.
Nice meeting you, bluebirds.
Thank you.
Yeah, bluebirds. Okay, yeah. 5 of them on the wing. Yeah. Oh, we let guys get a load out of that one. And he kind of wanders off, muddling and mumbling. And the she waits till he's out of sight and says, I thank you. And my family and household of the Beaches thanks you. Don't mind Carl the Younger. He grows
Terribly
on you.
unpleasant.
He grows on you. Much
Imagine
like
like
a fungus.
I was about to make that comparison, yes, in all fairness, but you take what you can get. He's the only one currently in the city who has the power of contract.
What if something happens to him? Nobody can do contracts?
Well, then we hope that we get someone else who learns how to do contracts. And until then, we do it the old fashioned way, and we do it with oaths.
Oh. Okay.
You know, there's something to be said for the old fashioned way, but at the same time, I understand contracts are as binding and not as final as oaths in certain ways.
There's a little bit of loophole. You got a little leeway with the contract.
Yes. And at this point, there's a thank you very much for joining us this evening in the court.
There is one thing before we leave, though. We would need the information about where your son lost the item in question.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. It was chained up in front of, what did he call it? The dance cave. He was there for a Spike Friday 2 Fridays ago.
Oh. And I'm going to just go ahead and assume that because Lara lives not too far from the dance cave, she would know where it is.
Yes.
Okay.
And you would be aware of Spike Fridays.
I
as
would.
well as Retro Mondays and several other things that go on there.
Yes.
What's the color of the things we are looking for, if those matter?
Oh, the bike is black with brass metalwork.
Did it have any markings, like a make and a model or anything like that?
I will make sure that you get that. Yes. I
Okay.
will
Thank you.
have to refer to the purchase documents at home, but I'm sorry that I failed to bring it with me. I did not think that I would meet a group tonight that would be able to help. I've been looking for the last couple of weeks and have not been blessed by fortune. So tonight I feel very much so. So I will make sure if one of you leaves me your number, an email, then I can arrange to have the make, model, and pictures emailed probably tomorrow.
Strictly for contact purposes, I'm sure that's okay.
Yeah, Penn will just leave a business card for the beguiling.
Oh, excellent. It's been a long time since I've shopped there. I'll have to reacquaint myself with that store at some point.
You'll know where to find me and my dad's.
Yes, thank you very much. And he tucks it away. And now from the announcement, it sounds like the Baroness and her household wish to take their leave, which means in a moment, the crew will be here to wrap all of this up. And I will bid you a wonderful good night. And I look forward to hearing from you soon, hopefully with good news.
Penn's grabbed a plate and is floating it up with deviled eggs, then has put another plate on top of it. It's like a little
I'm
to-go
doing the
caddy.
same. Like, we're leaving. There's this big buffet. Just load up before we leave.
We're just gonna throw it out.
Lee's gonna be classy and
college
just
kids.
pocket a few things, shove things in the cheeks, and just learn.
Yeah, Lara's gonna take a few things. I mean, she's on a student budget, so yeah, let's like.
Yeah, Lara doesn't even have to describe it. When you get home, there's food in your pockets. Okay, you did. And as you guys start to head out, there is kind of a stream. You wouldn't say there's a huge number of changelings here, but from what you can see, there must have been 20, 30 fae throughout the entire place. When you count the ones that you've seen and the ones that you're now seeing kind of exiting out in ones and twos. There's a couple here and a few there. By the door, the major domo J-Man is standing, cigarette stuck in the other side of his mouth this time, watching his people go. There is a Sluaw, a tall, slender, very pale, kind of the ultimate goth look. Stops and chats with him for a few minutes, and beside him is a second almost identical looking person, only with long blue hair instead of long kind of dirty blonde hair. And J-Man seems to give the blue-haired one a bit of a pat down, and then they both go on their way. And you guys file up, and so did you enjoy your first visit?
It's all right.
Excellent. Okay. I gotta ask, because it's traditional, is the Pisky carrying anything they didn't come in with?
Just an extra plate of food.
Yeah, okay. The food's allowed. We're good with that. Doggy bags are, we understand.
It's gonna go in the trash anyways.
Yeah, everyone's got it. Oh no, trust me, the red caps would make short work of that. But you know what? We'd rather it go to someone who appreciates it and understands what flavor is.
Thank you.
So okay.
The Baroness was most gracious this evening.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Not sure when the Baroness's next court is. She's the one who usually handles the courts in Toronto. The Duke doesn't come in often. If he does, I'm sure your ladies will tell you when. But if you've got a contact point, you can drop me. Being the major domo, I can make sure you hear about any courts that the Baroness is deciding to hold.
How would we contact you?
No. I will contact you if you have a mailbox, an owl roost, a business card. One of you lives solidly in the real world. Oh, not in the real world. Okay, that's even better. Okay, I'll just tuck that away. I'd give you one of my own, except I don't know which email I'm going to use. So, but yeah, you'll get a nice little flash invite when the next one's coming up. Shouldn't be more than a couple of weeks. She likes to party. She never lasts more than about, never more than a month in between.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure meeting all of you. You have a good night and stay on the right side of things. Don't make me have to come after you.
Thanks, J-Man.
Thank you.
Excellent. And the door swings open and you can kind of feel all the extra stuff kind of almost like emerging from the shower. It just kind of peels away and you're back in your mortal means within about 15, 20 steps. It's almost like a little bit changes with every step. And suddenly Lara looks like Lara again instead of like someone else. And ears slowly kind of turn a little more normal. You can see two people walking ahead of you and you can almost see the transformation as they go as well. As the clothing becomes more mundane, more normal, one becomes a suit, the other becomes, jeans and a nice denim jacket, where before it was silks and leathers and satins and stuff. You get back outside, it's a very, very warm summer night. It's Bud and Lou are both down at the gate, letting people out. Bud stands there and just smiles at people and nods and occasionally has the odd word with someone. Lou is a little more animated. He's obviously flirting with all the women that go through and half the guys probably. And you get to the gate and Bud's, it was nice having you. We look forward to having you again. And Lou's like,
thank you.
Next time.
Hey, did you guys get any of the buffet table?
No, we don't.
I'll hand them
We're the door guys. We don't.
Freely given. I'll hand them a plate.
Freely given.
Oh, Bud, food. And Bud's like, deviled eggs. Okay. We split them evenly, right? 1 for you, 1 for me. 2 for you, 1, 2 for me. So, yep, there's enough. 3 for you, 1, 2, 3 for me. Yeah, okay, this works. And Lou's like, wait a minute.
Freely given.
And
With
Bud's
hopes
like,
of maybe a
okay,
kindness later.
we'll talk about this in the security guard hut. We'll divide them up fair and square. You will get every egg you deserve. And Lou's like, I'd better. Thank you very much. This is your largesse is appreciated.
In hopes you remember the kindness.
Oh, always. And Lou heads off for the security shack with the eggs while Bud goes, hey, you don't eat them until I'm there too.
You know, I forgot to ask them who's on first.
Oh, I don't think even they know.
Bud's on second.
I don't know, who's on third.
Have a good night.
We'll pile into the gremlin.
Yep.
And I'll start dropping people off.
And this is about a good time to start wrapping things because I think we've recorded some excellent time tonight. And again, everything rolling along at a good pace. So, how do all y'all feel?
It's all right.
Feel great.
Good.
First
Perfect.
night at court, and then I saved us from giving away our names.
That
Super important.
I was waiting for that. I really was. So we're going to.
We beat you to it.
Now, and I'll give you a little hint about this in a little bit too. But now we're going to wrap it up and say thanks to all of our viewers. Hopefully, there's quite a number of them. And even if you're catching this in the video on demand afterwards on Twitch or through the YouTube, which we'll mention later. Thank you very much because without you guys, I mean, we appreciate every moment that you give us. So if Motley, if you'd like to reintroduce yourselves and tell them where we can find you next, where you hang out on the web, what you're doing next, future projects and all the other fun, let them know so they can hunt you up and perhaps invite you to their own games. So going backwards, Wittershins this time, we'll start from where we left off last time. Kitty, take it away.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kitty Kimchi. I have a few things in the works right now, and you can get all of my updates on my Twitter at, she's Blasian. So check me out.
And we should have everybody's info in the chat, which is
In the
that
bar
some
thing.
direction it's
that
down there
thing.
if you're on the phone, it's over there if you're on the okay. And next up we have Joanna.
Hello, I'm Joanna. I was playing Lara this evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you're watching this. You will find me on Twitter at Hyrule Gardner. You will find me every Saturday on the Saturday Vampire Takeover with Vancouver by Night in the Delve into Darkness game. And you will find me on our Vancouver by Night Patreon for a few pieces that might come in handy for knowing what's going on with just little bits of Saturday's game. Also, this is my shout out because I know that Storyteller Steve, or otherwise known as Fancy by Night, will be giving a shout out as well. But this game is the first game being recorded on our new streaming rig. Thank you all for helping us out to make this happen. We appreciate it so much. We appreciate the people at Martlet who helped us with our video editing while we were, had no editing laptop. So we're so happy to be able to bring you content on a new rig. And again, thank you so much from the bottom of our little wee gothy hearts. And yeah, that's it from me.
Okay, next around, Crystal.
Yes. Hi, I'm Crystal, and I played Lily Winters this evening. I'm not really on social media, but I am here, so that's a thing. not much else to announce. So yeah.
Okay, Rose.
Hey everyone, I played our favorite mystery tonight and just hopeful to get her memories back. Lee, you can call me Rose Bulbasaur online. You can find me at all of my links, which is in the link tree, whichever side it is. I know this thing isn't mirrored, so it's one of the sides.
It's around.
All of my links are there. Instagram, Twitter, I think even my all my links are there. Feel free to throw support where you can. My Ko-fi is on there. I am trying to make streaming more of my full-time rather than part-time gig. I am still saving up for a rig. So far I'm on the right track. I'm gonna be getting myself something new, better than just my MacBook laptop that I got secondhand from a friend of mine years and years and years ago. Yeah. Where you can see me next, I'm still hoping that the, as far as I'm aware, Cult of the Blood Gods is on a wee bit of a hiatus at the moment, but we will be starting up fairly soon. That's my hope anyways. Nothing official. With Motley Games, keep an eye on their page there if you'd like to do that. And yeah, I'll announce whenever I'm on any other games as well. Just keep an eye on my platforms.
And to wrap up the Motley, Anita.
Hello, I'm Anita or Panita or Critical Misses. You can find me everywhere online at Panita, P-A-H-N-I-T-A, or at Critical Misses. I'm a TTRPG streamer, graphic designer, and cat mom about the space. You can find me, by the time this airs, you'll find me Tuesdays for one more episode of the Hollowed Over on Tall Squalls channel. Wednesdays, I'm behind the scenes running tech on my streams. And Fridays, you can find me running and GMing my game called The Growing of the Dim, which is a horror game, supernatural horror game set in southeastern British Columbia. Saturdays, you can find me on my channel for Morning Ritual, which is a TTRPG talk show. And Sundays, I'm on Kobold Press's channel. We are bringing back Into the Southlands, so you get to see my sweet burb artificer there, named Moonshine the Magnificent. And that is me.
Excellent. And I'm Cliff, that storyteller guy who answers to a variety of names. You can find me as The Vintage Self on Instagram and YouTube. You can find this game, and hopefully there'll be a link in the chat, on Facebook if you do the Facebooks. When we hit 20 to 25 people, you will be able to start to participate in polls to influence the game, hand out extra experience points, and do all sorts of other stuff. Right now, it's an introduction to characters. Every day is a new, interesting little humorous bit about the Fae. And I think it was yesterday's where somebody said, how serious are the Fae when you just show up and they say, may I take your coat? And they say, yeah, you say, yes, please. And they go, thank you, and walk away. And yes, all sorts of other little interesting bits. We'll be getting a little deeper into the game environment and the different kith, starting with our 5 Motley people. So it's just chock-a block of information, especially for people who are looking to learn more about Changeling, which apparently is quite a few people. I can also be found on Vancouver by Night, Delves into Darkness. We're into the start of season 2, where I am the Giovanni who plots and plans, and everything is actually going great according to me, but I'm kind of insane. So, which people are just starting to figure out. So great is a relative term, and apparently my relatives are also coming to town, so this could be fun. Vancouver by Night, I want to thank you guys for hosting us, because it's a great place to be. Check out their Patreon, where for very, very, very little money, you can find out all sorts of interesting stuff and see some great videos of stuff going on all over the place, and eventually some Changeling videos in there with all the vampire stuff. Also check out their YouTube. Last I saw, we were at 555 subscribers, and we're aiming for that 1,000, because that's the number where YouTube goes, oh, wow, you're serious. Good things are happening. And thank you for being you and tuning in and watching, whether, again, you're watching live, well, recorded, or watching on the YouTubes or the video on demand. We will be back next week to see how the Motley starts exploring the world of Toronto a little deeper as they look for a steed and or a bike and a pump, or who knows what they're looking for. They do, and that's good. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful night. And I don't know where we're raiding into, but we'll raid into somewhere and it'll be fun. Always
But
is.
if we do, let's make the hashtag first quest.
Yes.
First
Hashtag
quest.
first
Yes.
quest.
Hashtag first quest.